Hosting for the Dice Tower is generously provided by Cool Stuff Inc. Cool Stuff, in stock at coolstuffinc.com. Thanks for your support. The Dice Tower, episode 438.
The Best of 2015, Part 2.
Welcome to The Dice Tower, a podcast about board games and card games, and especially the people who play them. On today's show, it's the second half of our look back at 2015, including the best cooperative game, most innovative game, and our top 10 games of the year. I'm Eric Summerer, and here's your host, the left shark of board gaming, Tom Vassell.
I don't know what that means, Eric.
You don't know who Left Shark is?
I'm assuming he's friends with Right Shark?
Well, maybe. So in the Super Bowl halftime show from earlier this year, Katy Perry was dancing with these sharks, and one of them was out of sync, and he became a hero for those who wanted to blaze their own path. You don't answer to any choreography, Tom. You are your own shark.
Wow, you're reaching for that one. How did that become best of 2015? Where'd that come from?
Oh, Left Shark was one of the best things of 2015.
Sure. Let me ask you this, Eric.
Yes.
If I asked you, what is the best gaming accessory of 2015?
Ooh.
Would it have anything to do with smelling?
Maybe. I have not tried these things out yet.
Oh, okay. Well, you haven't opened up the box?
I've opened it up. Oh, no, I haven't tried it in an actual situation. So this is a series of fragrances. What's it called, Tom?
Adventure Scents.
Adventure Scents. And they
SCENTS.
They're like these beads, scent beads, that have been combined in various combinations to emulate gaming environments. So there's a campfire. And it's like a little tin, and you open it up, and there are these smell beads, and you're supposed to just let the fragrance waft about the room. And it's supposed to make you, feel like you're in front of a campfire or in an engine room or, and they sent a whole array of these things. But you're supposed to play them, use them in a role-playing game or a thematic game where you want to be,
Unfortunately, they sent me and Eric different ones.
Yes.
They told me they sent him a different batch than me.
Yes, I've been told this.
Because I smelled my batch, and I think I got like 20 different smells maybe.
Yeah.
And I think 4 of them are tolerable.
Yeah, I've not opened all of them yet.
I don't know. For example, the worst one I have is Fish Wharf.
I don't have Fish Wharf.
It smells like rotting fish. Now, I get that that's kind of thematic, although I would argue that rotting fish would not be at a fish wharf because, they're catching fish there.
Right. Well, some drop.
Why would I want to smell that?
To bring out the
during
theme.
The game
Next
session.
time you play Le Havre, you need to have rotting fish wharf.
Z said they're marketing to the wrong crowd. Because if there's one group of people who obviously don't have a sense of smell, it's many gamers.
Well, this could mask some of that.
Yes, this smells like a dead fish, and this one here is blood and sweat. But you know what? They're both better than you.
What's that smell? Oh, it's just my gaming adventure sense. Yeah, that's what it is. I got a pack of that in my pocket.
It's a unique product, and I'm knocking it out of fun, I suppose, because I do get you want to have these things, but I just not seeing a big market for this.
This is very, very specialized. I was impressed at how many different scents they had. I got Peat Bog, by the way. That's the one that I am really looking forward to using. Swamp Bog. Fetid Swamp. That's what it's called. Fetid Swamp.
Yeah, but I have Zombie Crypt or something. Yeah. Well, it's Moldy Crypt, I believe.
We can collect and trade and see who wins.
I'm bringing these to a convention, and I'm just going to put them in the room of Eric when he's not looking.
Great.
All right, but we're here to talk about 2015. Maybe next year we'll start doing best gaming accessory.
Maybe.
Because there's a lot of cool ones.
Well, and there are others that aren't so cool, too. It's some things that people get really excited sometimes about, like a card caddy that it holds a deck of cards. And that's about it.
Yeah, but there are some cool ones. But we'll talk about them in a future show because we got to get going.
We do.
You heard how long our show was last week. We got more to come.
We do.
So let's get into this. Here we go. First category.
And now, it's time for those games in which you work together to defeat evil, also known as the board game. It's time for the best cooperative games from 2015.
Hello, my friends. It's the Game Boy Geek here. Best co-op game for me is Time Stories. Gosh, this game is so engaging. It draws you into the story. You're working together. You're deciding where to go. And the best part about this is when you're doing this, there's no alpha game because everyone is reading their own card and then explaining to everybody else in their own words what it said and what they think we should do depending on what they saw. Oh man, this game is unbelievable. Time Stories.
Hey chaps, a co-op game is a game where everybody feels that they can contribute and there is no alpha gamer. The only game that's made me feel this year is a game called Apocalypse Chaos. It's a game where you can't bury your head in the sand and just look at your dice results. You have to look at others. And you can't take control of the game because there's so many things to look at and calculate. For me, this is Assault on Precinct 13, the game. An excellent co-op, Apocalypse Chaos.
Hey, it's the Four Corners. Best cooperative game of the year? We would all have to go with Pandemic Legacy, and this was a unanimous call for the entire group. Although Pandemic is not my favorite co-op game, the legacy aspect has breathed new life into this game for me.
This is Anthony, and my favorite cooperative game from 2015 is Time Stories. It just edged out Pandemic Legacy because it's a game that I've been able to get to the table repeatedly, play through multiple scenarios on, and have an incredible time with the group that's been playing with me. So much fun here, so much unique experience, so much tension that goes into solving each of these cases that are so unique and different. This game has infinite possibilities. It's going to keep growing, and I know it's going to keep hitting my table as something just fun and unique for my group.
Hey everybody, it's the Board Game Point of View, and our best cooperative game in 2015, Spectre Ops from Plaid Hat, designed by Emerson Matsuuchi.
You know what else has to be mentioned? The awesome miniatures.
You're definitely right about that.
Round of applause for those. I have gloves on, so
right.
it didn't work. But sorry, guys. No.
Dang it, Steven. Spectre Ops.
Hey, this is Patrick.
This is Jeremy.
And this is Rob. Our favorite co-op game of 2015 has to be Pandemic Legacy. Now, I'm going to be honest. Going into this play, I did not like Pandemic, but I absolutely love Pandemic Legacy.
Yeah, we had such a great time experiencing this game together, watching each other have all the anxiety. It was a blast.
I have never been as excited or as nervous and terrified to get a game to table.
So that's our favorite co-op. Pandemic Legacy.
This is Brian Counter. I may be stretching the definition here of co-op, but I'm going to go with Dark Moon. It does what it purports pretty well. It's fun, and even though once the reveal happens, it can be just a tad swingy, it's a much better version of Battlestar Galactica, and you can avoid those hideously long Battlestar Galactica games that I don't even want to play anymore because they're so long. This works, and it's fun.
Hey, Chris Renshaw here again, and the best cooperative game of 2015 has to be The Grizzled. The game is hard as heck, except for, still haven't beaten the game. The theme really comes out as you're all trying to struggle into this World War I type atmosphere. The cards look great. The gameplay is fantastic. And it's terrible that when you draw the mute card when you're trying to explain the game. Best cooperative game for 2015 has to be The Grizzled.
Hello, Dan Hughes here, and I suspect I'm not going to be the only one to say that by far the best co-op game of this year has got to be Pandemic Legacy. I'm only a few months into the game myself, but already I'm having one of the best board gaming experiences I've ever had. It's marvellous stuff, and if you haven't tried it, I really recommend it.
This is Sean for the Dukes of Dice podcast, and both Alex and I are in absolute agreement that the best cooperative game of the year is hands down Pandemic
Legacy.
See, cooperation right there. I mean, Pandemic is a game that for me was kind of played out, but for whatever reason, you add this legacy component on top of it, and man, this game just blows my mind.
Storytelling in this kind of game really works.
That's Pandemic Legacy.
This is Trent Howell, and my vote for Best Cooperative Game goes to Dead Men Tell No Tales. It's a fantastic pirate-themed cooperative game where you're trying to get loot off the ship from the guards, the skeleton crew, and watch out for deckhands. But you've also got to fight the fire within each of the rooms and make sure that there's not too many explosions. It's a hard game to win, one we've only done a few times, but that's what keeps bringing us back to Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Hey, Eric Teo here, and my best cooperative game for 2015 is Pandemic Legacy. Surprise! No, not really. Pandemic Legacy, I suspect, would be on a lot of people's lists. It is a great cooperative game. My classmates and I, we have managed to play almost all the way through. We should be able to finish it by the end of this year, or at least we aim to, and that's quite amazing. For a game that we know that the replayability will be limited, we are okay to finish it. We're okay to rush through it, and because we want to see what happens, we want to open those damn boxes, and find out what's behind them. And not only that, the game is actually fun. Some of them in my classmates, my teams, did not like Pandemic for various reasons, like alpha leader problem and stuff like that. But when they played Pandemic Legacy, they found that a lot of the issues they had with Pandemic is eliminated or greatly reduced. For example, the alpha leader problem, there's not so much anymore because there's so many things to take note of and cater for that even if you are usually the alpha leader, you may not want to be responsible for it because of the legacy mechanism where you will permanently change the board. So if anything screws up, I think most people do not want to be the one that causes the screw up. So a lot of things to be happy about, be excited about. If you have not played Pandemic Legacy, you should go out and play it. So that's my best cooperative game for 2015, Pandemic Legacy.
Hey, it's Dan. This is going to be a hard one to avoid for a lot of people, but the best cooperative game for this year is Pandemic Legacy by a mile. You take a game like Pandemic, but you turn it up to 11 and you make all the choices interesting. Each game puts it on your head, but you get people wanting to come back for more. And that's a hard thing to do in a cooperative game, to get people want to play it again and again, and then come back next weekend and play it another 2 or 3 times. But for whatever reason, Pandemic Legacy has that, and that is why Pandemic Legacy is the best cooperative game of 2015.
Greg Schlosser here, talking about the best cooperative game for 2015. This is a slam dunk favorite. Pandemic Legacy. What an amazing game. It takes the Pandemic game and then changes it as the game progresses. Kind of like what they did with Risk Legacy. Rob Davio has teamed with Matt Leacock to create an amazing game where you're fighting those diseases and the world just keeps changing all around you. Best cooperative game of the year by far, Pandemic 2015.
Hey folks, Mark Street here. You know, my favorite cooperative game of the year has got to be Pandemic Legacy. That game, man, it's so much fun. So many things change throughout the game experience. And I don't want to give anything away if you haven't played, but you have got to check this out. It's just one of those unique gaming experiences that you will never forget.
Pooh! Again, Niels Hertzman, and yeah, let's talk about...
The best co-op game for me was a little bit of tricky. I had 2 very close by, but winner for me is best co-op game 2015, The Game.
So now we have a category, best cooperative game, and it's been a rich year for cooperative games. Do you have a favorite?
Well, I really, and this is going to stretch it a little bit, I really enjoyed Dark Moon. I realize it's more of a team game, but still it's basically a cooperative game. I really love the theming and, of course, being a Battlestar Galactica fan. And also Mysterium was quite good, but again, I think that one's going to get picked quite a bit. How about you, Don?
Well, no, the one that's going to get picked by everyone who's played it probably is Pandemic Legacy, which is my favorite co-op game of the year. It was going to be Mysterium up until that point, and Dark City, not a co-op game. It is a team game, so you saved yourself from my ridicule. Good job. Those of you who picked it, great game, not co-op. I'm Donald.
And I'm Eric from Onboard Games.
This is Ryan from Out of Game, and the best cooperative game of the year, which is weird for me because I usually don't like cooperative games, but Time Stories. This game is one of the best games I've ever played in my life, not just the best cooperative game. Time Stories, by far, best cooperative game of the year.
This is Chris from Out of Game. I would say The Grizzled. It's the game where I learned for the very first time your friends can root against you when you're playing versus the game, and it's a game they've never won. Interesting. Horrible game.
Tony Marty here, best cooperative game. Pandemic Legacy for me. I cannot get enough. Season 1, if you haven't tried it, what's wrong with you, Marty?
I do need to try it, but since I haven't, I'm going to have to say the Cool Men You're Not co-op game, The Grizzled. This kind of came out of nowhere for me. Just a little simple co-op card game, but it is really hard, but easy to play. A lot of fun, but when you win, you feel really good because really it is that hard.
Hey now, this is Jamie from The Secret Cabal, and the best cooperative game is, of course, Time Stories. The guys I play it with are fired up to play this any chance they can get, and it's only 2 times so far, and that's the only downfall of it, that you can only play an adventure 1 time. But the camaraderie that this game creates, the story that develops out of it, the mystery, the deduction that we have to do it hits every mark squarely perfectly. Time Stories is my favorite cooperative game ever.
Jonathan from the Snakes Cast, and I can't believe I'm about to award Best Cooperative Game of the Year to a game that suffers terribly from the alpha player problem. In any other year, Mysterium or XCOM, both of which solve the alpha player problem brilliantly, would have taken this one, but Pandemic Legacy is just too immersive, too engrossing. I don't want to give this to a game that has the alpha player problem in 2015, but it's just too good.
Hi, Suzanne here, and it was a tough call between Time Stories and The Grizzled for Best Cooperative Game of the Year for me. But ultimately, Time Stories is the stunner. Speaking as someone who doesn't usually like co-op games, Time Stories kept me engaged and entertained and is one of the most compelling game experiences I've had all year. I can't wait to play more of the scenarios.
Hello, it's Socrates again. The Big Book of Madness from Yellow Games. This game is a great cooperative game with a lot of things and a lot of choices to do. The game is a huge puzzle, really, but one of the things that strikes me most is that it's hard for the alpha player to actually be the alpha player. Every player has their own cards and their own spells, and they have to make their own decisions here. But this game is, without a doubt for me, the best co-op game of 2015.
Hi, this is Tom Kendrick, and my favourite co-op game of 2015 was XCOM. While it seems to have been getting a little bit lost in the sands of time, and the decision not to include a physical rulebook is mystifying, it still offers a unique experience that captures one of my favourite elements of any type of gaming, but especially co-op, and that is ruthless tension. So, XCOM wins Best Co-op.
Hi, Luke Hector here, and I thought 2015 was a bit dry for co-ops in my opinion. Is it me, or is there just not that many? But in January, we were given XCOM. This one made me want to play the computer game, and I've never played an XCOM game in my life. But this is a really engaging, fairly stressful, but in a good way, type co-op game that taught us how to use an app properly. This game is a really cool thematic experience, and I urge anybody who's even remotely a fan of XCOM to give it a try.
All right. Well, I can't imagine not picking Pandemic Legacy for this one. It's an amazing game, working together, solving problems, rolling with the punches, I think is how Pandemic Legacy goes. My favorite co-op of the year.
Yeah, there's so many good cooperative games actually that came out this year. I mean, Spectre Apps would have been one that I would have mentioned easily. Or, there's Grizzled and XCOM, well, Eric, not for Eric, but for me. And True. I really loved Pandemic Legacy, but I'm going to give the edge to Time Stories. It was close, though. I mean, super close. And Eric, you've played Time Stories, right?
I have, and again, super close. I think the edge has to come from the sort of extent of the narrative.
Well, also, you love Pandemic. I mean,
I also love Pandemic. And it's one that I can play with more people. I can play it with my son, whereas the theming of Time Stories isn't quite something I'd want to, submit him to.
All right, let's do this.
Are we tiring you out?
It's time now for games that go outside the box. Games that do something different. The most innovative games of 2015.
Hi folks, Niels again, and this time I'm talking about the best innovation in 2015 in the board gaming industry.
Best innovation is putting all of these games, I'm going over to the next shelf, all of these games here in one box. So 504, the new game box from 2F is my innovation of 2015.
Hello, my friends. It's the Game Boy Geek here. All right, I give up. 504, just like everyone else. That's it.
This is the Four Corners. The most innovative game for me this year has to be Time Stories. The idea that the original box is just a framework for additional modules to be plugged in is an interesting concept. For Megan, it was XCOM the board game. She felt that the tablet was a cool and innovative use of technology, and it also helps reduce the alpha gamer syndrome.
This is Anthony, and my most innovative game for 2015 is 504. Friedman Freeze's
Frankenstein of a game is unique in almost every possible way. No one has ever made anything like this before. No one might ever make something like this again. It's just fun to look through the different combinations and see what can be put together here. You'll never get through all the different combinations. Some of them are amazing, some of them are not. But the fact that it exists, it's innovative in its own right. It's a move forward for design of board games, and I'm excited to see what people do with it next.
Chris Renshaw here again with the most innovative game of 2015. To me, was The World of Smog on Her Majesty's Service. This was a very interesting game to me, especially because the game revolves around this set of rotating gears which lock into place on the board and spin, and the whole point of the game is designed around spinning these gears, and what direction those gears are pointed towards you changes the entire game. And that's why the most innovative game is The World of Smog on Her Majesty's Service.
Hello, Dan Hughes here, and my pick is a game that I don't actually enjoy playing that much. However, there's no taking away from the fact it's very, very innovative. It's Looney Quest, a board game that replicates the experience of playing apps on your phone or your tablet by using dry erase markers and transparent sheets. In the US, a very similar game called Doodle Quest was released, but I've not played that one. It's very clever and very innovative and very frustrating, and I don't really like it very much. But it's innovative.
This is Sean for the Duke's Dice podcast, and for me, the most innovative game of the year was 504. I haven't found a set of modules that I'm just crazy about. However, the amount of thinking and design that went into making all these different modules work together in a cohesive way is incredible. I think that this is the beginning of something big, definitely innovative. 504.
Hey, it's Dan. My most innovative game of 2015 is Elysium by Matthew Dunstan. Using those colored columns to select which cards to buy, and then using them to figure out turn order, also using those cards as either the abilities or when to score them, all that together I just thought was a really innovative design, and even has a bunch of replayability because of the different cards that can be used in each game. For all that, I think Elysium is the most innovative game of 2015.
Jeff here, and I kind of had to split my most innovative vote two ways. One is 504 from Stronghold Games and Freedom on Freeze. And this is just a fantastic pastiche of variety mechanics with a flip book that you really have to see to believe. But my other one, which I think is also pretty cool, is Churchill. By Mark Herman, and that's another take on a World War II game that is focused on the diplomatic aspects and well worth checking out.
Dicey Chic here. My choice for most innovative game is Elysium. I like being able to select different decks for the games, but the two things that really make it interesting are the way the cards are drafted and how the card powers may be only used on cards that haven't been moved down for scoring. Since there's a limit to the number of cards that may be moved down each round, plus the fact that you may get points for being the first to have certain sets, you are faced with choices for which cards to move, when to move them, and then finally which set to add them to.
This is Ryan from Out of Game, and the most innovative game of the year is Time Stories. I've never played a game like this. It's like Myst, the board game. I've heard it compared that way. And I'm pretty sure others are going to be saying this. This game is great. Go out and play it. It's worth the money. It's worth the time and effort. Time Stories.
Marty here. Most innovative game, Time Stories. This is a very unique game where you're kind of buying the base game with the module, and then you're going to buy additional modules over time, but the modules can only be played once, and the game experience is somewhat like Tragedy Looper, where you're trying to figure out a puzzle, and sometimes you have to, when you mess up, you have to start over again, and you keep playing it till you figure out the whole story. Really cool. I really enjoyed how that game worked, and Tony doesn't play anything very innovative, so that's why he's not giving us one.
Hey now, this is Jamie from the Secret Cabal, and the most innovative game this year is Eric Lang's XCOM, the board game. The integration with the app and the way it runs the game for you and the speed at which you have to do things and the way things resolve at the end is so fun for me. It's amazing how well this game comes together. And it's one of those games that every time you play, they're saying, let's go again, let's go again, let's go again. And that's a hallmark of a fantastic game. Innovative mechanics, tons of fun. XCOM, the board game. It's terrific.
Jonathan from the Snakes Cast. The most innovative game of 2015 was also one of the first to come out in 2015, and that was XCOM. Without the digital tech, it simply wouldn't work. Without the human interaction, it simply wouldn't be what it is. It's the first true hybrid board game. We haven't seen anything else like it. There are other games that could be simulated using traditional components, or that could dispense with those altogether and just be video games. This is the only one that doesn't work unless you have both.
Hello, it's Takos again. For the most innovative game, I will have to go for Mysterium. Just the simple idea of combining Clue with Dixit, it seems so easy, but just coming up with the idea and making this great a product, that is kind of the hard part, isn't it? So most innovative game is Mysterium.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jeanette, the Metal Meeple, and I think the most innovative game for me has to be Spyfall. Now, sure, it's not redefining a genre, but what it did was take a genre where there's plenty of games out there doing the same thing, and took it to the next level with the way that the questions are being asked and the way you have to answer them. It's just that social deduction, I mean, it's just really, really fun to do, and everybody I've played it with really enjoys it. So, anyway, till next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
Hi, this is Tom Kendrick, and my most innovative game of 2015 is Warhammer Quest. While I was tempted by 504, I'm not sure that its innovation will actually bring anything to the hobby as a whole, whereas I think Warhammer Quest's quest system of providing a story and character progression, but in a card game and in 5 manageable chunks, elevates it above Descent and its like, which I love, but they will take you 16 hours to complete to see that progression. So most innovative is Warhammer Quest.
Hi, Luke Hector here, and I don't even like this game that I've picked for most innovative title, but I have to give Freedom and Freeze props. 504 was a really ingenious design, and you deserve credit for it. To take those 9 modules and create 504 different games using that flip chart rulebook, it's genius. I gotta give it credit. Granted, this has been done before, but for this to sell so well as a concept, yes, I don't like it, I think it's dry, and I think the component quality is poor. But give you props, this was a neat idea.
I have to go with Time Stories. It was almost, if you listen to all the contributors, 504 and Time Stories were the big ones here with our contributors.
Although they didn't dominate. I thought 504 would dominate this category.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're hearing XCOM, which is true. It's very innovative on how that put the app together with the game.
Yeah.
And Elysium has something I hadn't seen in a game before.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I mean, there's innovation in lots of places. And 504's concept is intriguing, but I also have not yet played it. Looking at that rulebook has scared me off. I'm not sure. My interest has gone down significantly. I acknowledge that the concept is probably something that will never be done again. But maybe there's a reason for that. I don't know. Time Stories, however, with the way the decks work and the way they're threaded together and how you can acquire a token by approaching something from one direction, and that changes the way you interact with other rooms, it really is fascinating to see this type of game, a first-person adventure game, a Myst-style computer game emulated in a deck of cards. That's pretty neat. And quite innovative. That's my pick, Time Stories.
Yeah, Time Stories was my runner-up, actually, for innovative game, but I'm going to go with 504. It's not as... It looks worse than it is, Eric. Once you understand how to read that rule book, it's not so bad. It's not amazing, the game, but it's pretty neat, and just the fact that you can mix these modules together. If we had most audacious game, it would win that category.
I guess I'll call it most audacious, sure.
All right, well, that's innovation.
Strange, weird, odd. Here are the strangest games from 2015.
Chris here, and the strangest game for 2015 turns out to be The Game. That's right. A game called The Game is really strange, not only for its title, which you can't find on Board Game Geek without going through 55 pages, but also the artwork that comes with this really quick-playing co-op game, which is all about playing numbers to try to get the cards out of your hand. Yeah, the game is strange, if you can find it. And if you find it, you're going to find it strange.
This is Alex from the Dukes of Dice podcast, and my strangest game of 2015 is Two Rooms in a Boom. Hostages negotiating lots of crazy, weird roles. Strange.
This is Sean, and my strangest game is Castellian. This is in the Oniverse, and there's these weird guys in green and blue shapes. You're building a castle. It's a weird game, but pretty cool.
Dicey Chic here. Loop Incorporated is an interesting game. I chose it for the Strangest Game because while it is fairly easy to play, there is a lot of stuff that can go wrong. It is a time-traveling game played over 3 days or 3 rounds, with 1 to 3 time machines being managed each day. The problem is that you have to use the action cards from the previous day or days in the same order they were previously used, plus 3 new action cards. Also, you can't visit the same time you previously did, or you risk tearing the space-time continuum. On top of that, other players may grab up all the available parts for your missions that you want to run.
Hi friends, welcome back. Niels again.
The Strangest Game 2015 for me. Bring out your dad. This black English humor, this morbid theme is really critical. Even the rulebook is strange for me. On this game, everything is strange, including a bag which has no use in the game at all.
This is Ryan from Out of Game, and I would say the strangest game I played this year has to be Costume Party by Naturalist Games. You may not have heard of this one, but it is actually kind of a fun game that you can play with really any crowd. It's about wearing a unique costume to a costume party. Kind of a weird theme, kind of weird hipster art, but pretty fun. So Costume Party, Strangest Game of the Year.
Hi, this is Tom Kendrick, and my strangest game of 2015 was 504. This is truly the Frankenstein's monster of board games. Looking through the book of modules, I almost felt lightheaded, both at the possibilities and at the realization that this game would need to be taught anew almost every single time we played. 504 is truly strange, and I don't know if we'll ever see anything like it again, apart from possibly in a digital form.
Hey, Luke from the Broken Meeple again. You getting bored of me yet? Nah, hopefully not. Well, here, strangest title. If I told you about a game that was Monopoly crossed with Scrabble, you'd probably be sprinting for the door as I shout after you. But Letter Tycoon is a strange, yet interesting word game where you buy letters of the alphabet and then get rent based on whether opponents use the letters in their words that they spell with a deck of cards. It's a really neat idea, but strange. Give it a look.
Oh, weirdest game. I did not get a chance to play the one about the divorcing rabbits, which sounds pretty strange to me. So my pick for strangest is And Then We Held Hands. Talked about this just a couple weeks ago. The 2-player cooperative game about balancing your emotions and coming into balance with your partner that you're playing the game with. The art design is lovely. It does work. But it's a kind of a strange theme when you're talking about lots of other co-ops where you're trying to save the world, fight off a zombie apocalypse, fight ghosts, stuff like that. And this is come to terms with your emotions and reach out to your partner, not physically, unless you want a high five at the end of the game, but emotionally. But it's weird.
I feel like I'm missing something here. I feel like there's some strange themes that I missed over the course of the game. Just some strange games. I'll go with 504 because the combinations did make for some very strange things sometimes.
Okay.
Although the rabbit divorce game, whatever it's called, I would agree that that's a really weird idea.
Pretty strange.
What's better than playing your favorite game? Playing it with more options. The best expansions for 2015.
Hey chaps, any expansion should just augment a game from its base values just a tiny bit to make it better. And the only game that I found that augments and makes the game better is an expansion called Cold Express Horses and Stagecoach. This expansion adds just enough to change the game and give it more options, but it doesn't really detract from the base of the game, which is already there. It just adds that little touch and it makes it perfect. Now Barry plays Colt Express more than he ever did.
Hello my friends, the Game Boy Geek here. Best expansion for me is 5 Tribes, Artisans of Nakala. Especially because I didn't even think 5 Tribes needed an expansion. I've played it a ton, and I love it just the way it is. I was actually a little skeptical that they were going to add too much stuff, but it's amazing. It makes the game from something I love to one of my favorites in my entire collection. It adds some super special abilities and different ways to lay out the tiles and different things that make you change the way you think. Excellent.
Hey, it's the Four Corners. For us, the best expansion of 2015 is one I just got, the Ticket to Ride United Kingdom in Pennsylvania. I've always really enjoyed Ticket to Ride, but find it can get a bit samey, even with the 4 other map collections. The changes this expansion brings, I thought, brought something new and interesting to the game. For Lela, her favorite expansion was the Pretty Smash Up expansion.
Chris here with the best expansion for 2015. A great expansion just doesn't add to the base game, but it makes the base game better. And there's no expansion that does this better than Secrets, the expansion for the Castles of Mad King Ludwig. By adding moats, a drawbridge, and secret passageways, finally, your castle looks like a castle and not just some random rooms on your table. Now, finally, when people come around to the table, they actually know that I'm building a castle.
Hello, Dan Hughes here, and this one's an easy one. It expands one of my favourite games. It's Ticket to Ride, the UK expansion. Now, apparently, there's some kind of US state or town or something on the other side of the map, but who would want to bother with that when you've got the glorious expanse of England, Wales, Scotland and Ireland opening up in front of you? In fact, my only criticism is that for some unknown reason, they've chosen not to include Huddersfield on the map. We've got a lovely train station too.
This is Sean from the Dukes of Dice podcast, and for me, the best expansion of the year was hands down Roll for the Galaxy Ambition. This was one of my top games of last year, although I know technically it's a 2015 game, but the expansion added so much. I will use this every single time, added so much to the game. I love Ambition to Roll for the Galaxy.
For me, it's 5 Tribes, Artisans of Nakala that takes the cake for best expansion. It really expands on this game, adds a lot of new wrinkles to it that makes it feel like a fresher experience. 5 Tribes, Artisans of Nakala.
Hi, this is Professor Laserbooks from Flip the Table, and my favorite expansion from this past year has been the Pathfinder LCG's Skulls and Shackles base set and all of its expansions. I've recently got into the Pathfinder card game, and it's great. I'm hooked. I'm playing it every week. I can't get enough. I'm addicted. I can't stop. Somebody help me. This is a cry for help.
Hey, it's Dan. Best expansion this year is pretty tough because the 5 Tribes expansion expands a game that I really like. However, Sentinels of the Multiverse Wrath of the Cosmos expansion just brings whole new life to the Sentinels of the Multiverse franchise. You get Captain Cosmic and Skyscraper, 2 great heroes. You get 4 challenging villains and, of course, a couple of locations to go on top of that. It takes a game that I really love and it just gives that new life. It's not just the same old, same old. These heroes really change things. And for that, Sentinels of the Multiverse Wrath of the Cosmos is my expansion of the year.
This is Jared Whitley again. The Camel Up Super Cup was an easy decision for me. It builds upon an already great game that I enjoy with many different people and features my favorite mechanic, modular expansion. With 4 separate modules and an expandable section of the racetrack, this edition of Camel Up is sure to keep your camels racing for years to come.
Dicey Chic here. My choice for best expansion is Roll for the Galaxy Ambition. I especially like the new dice editions. I love the base game, and this adds really nicely to it, including more starting factions, objectives, and new tiles.
Hi there, my name is Niels, and this time I'm telling you my expansion for board gaming for 2015, which was 5 Tribes. It was the Artisans of Naquala. A very good game, base game, and a perfect expansion for 2015.
Hi, this is Chris from Out of Game Podcasts, and for me, the best expansion of 2015 was One Night Ultimate Werewolf Daybreak. We got to see this in Gen Con, played a tournament. They added a lot to it. Good new roles like the Witch and some of the other ones like the Village Idiot. It added a lot of flavor to a game that, quite personally, we played a lot and got a little worn down. But the expansion really injected life into this game.
Daybreak. Tony Marty, best expansion 2015. Yeah, the game's old, but Lord of the Rings, LCG, every expansion is something new to explore in that incredible universe. I love my Lord of the Rings expansions. I look forward to them.
One of my top games of last year was Imperial Settlers, so when I heard an expansion was coming out, I was all over it. And Ignacy has knocked it out of the park with the Lantians. This faction plays totally different than any of the other factions in the base game. A lot of fun, cool mechanics. You got to kind of learn how to play it because it's so different than the others. My top expansion of the year.
Jonathan from the Snakes Cast, best expansion set of 2015 is Arcadia Quest Beyond the Grave. In addition to featuring arguably the greatest piece of plastic the human race has ever conceived of in the form of the Dread King mini. Oh my god, that thing is so awesome. It also has those terrific tombstone cards, which make the monsters a much more active part of the game, moving around, attacking people. It's terrific. I love it.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jeanette, the Metal Meeple, and I think the best expansion has to be 5 Tribes, Artisans of Nakala. That game, Five Tribes, was a really good game, but after a while, you noticed some strategies that kind of worked a little bit better than others. So it kind of sat on a shelf for a little bit, but this expansion revived that, added new things to where those, there's newer strategies, and there's just multiple approaches to it. It's just really, really fun, and I like the way it was done. So until next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
Luke Hector here again, and need I say more, Takenoko Chibis, taking one of my favourite games of all time and then adding the female panda with the panda babies, more ways to score, more variety, and just a really fun mechanic with that panda. I love this game already. This expansion basically did what an expansion should do. Not add anything too complicated, but add more of the good stuff. Takenoko Chibis, it is a must-have if you own and like that game.
I realized something while I was getting ready for this segment, and that's that I have acquired many expansions in 2015, but many of those games didn't hit the table as quickly as I wanted them to. And so I didn't have a whole lot to choose from, although my pick I felt was an awesome addition to the original game, and that's Castle Panic: The Dark Titan, which makes the game more difficult with this super deluxe nasty dude that shows up near the end of the game. He's got 8 hit points, and he's like destroying the castle. He's got several different levels of difficulty. They give you some ways to mitigate that with a nice little cavalier that runs around the board and some new cards that make it a little easier. But then there's this dude that shows up, and he's smashing the castle and throwing boulders at you. Really neat addition to Castle Panic. The Dark Titan is my pick.
Do you like the Dark Titan better than the first expansion?
Wizard's Tower?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's better. Wizard's Tower also adds a lot, and because Dark Titan has some wizard cards in it, they mesh well. I don't know if I like it necessarily better. It's just really cool.
Yeah, I think I've probably, if I did what I plan to do when we're recording this, have a top 10 expansions of the year up on the video feed, because there were so many good expansions that came out this year.
Yeah.
Really, there were lots of these, and this was actually pretty close for me. Really close runner-up was Ticket to Ride UK. But I'm going to give it to Tassetti for Kemet. Now, I will say that about 60% of that is how much I love Kemet.
Yeah, that's hard with these expansions.
But the expansion itself also added black pyramids, and priests, so a lot of fun. I don't know that I might vote for it for best expansion if I was voting for it. Like, does this expansion make the game? But it does make the game really good too. I don't know. I love it anyway. Kemet Tassetti.
I need to play some more expansions. That's all I know.
Games are great, but we don't want to forget about the classics. Here are the best reprints of 2015.
Hello, my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Best reprint for me this year is Poseidon's Kingdom. Mostly because, hey, that game was out of print for a while. It was selling for over $200 on eBay and such. And it was reprinted, and the components are amazing. They did a lot of work with the art. It makes it a lot clearer. It's just an unbelievable game to look at, and it was reprinted, and it's a lot of fun, and that's why it made my list for reprint of the year, Poseidon's Kingdom.
Hey, it's the Four Corners here. Best reprint? This one is tough, as we seem to be in a great time for reprints. For me, it came down to Fury of Dracula and Mission Red Planet. I think because I tend to like the one versus many mechanism of games, I'm going to have to give the nod to Fury of Dracula. If Colosseum had been reprinted this year, everything else would have been a distant second. I'll just have to wait until next year to get my hands on that one.
Hey guys, Sean here. My pick for reprint of the year has got to be Mysterium, and it's by a long shot. Now, the original game was a totally fun experience, solving a murder mystery together as a team, and they kept in all of the elements that made it a great game, but they also added some key mechanics and components. I mean, there's so much jammed into that box. Easily, by far, Mysterium, my pick for reprint of the year.
This is Chris with the best reprint in 2015. Games that are deserving of a reprint are games that have gained legendary status, and there are a few games that are more legendary than El Grande. This year, it received a big box reprint with some new artwork, new meeples, and a great insert. We at Board Gamers Anonymous predicted back in January that this game would get a reprint, and it has, and we're so glad because this game deserves to be in everyone's collection.
Hey, this is Patrick, and my favorite reprint has got to be Glenn Drover's Empire's Age of Discoveries. I understand that it really wasn't a big change from the original game. They just basically spruced it up, added some bits, and cleaned up some of the rules. But oh my heavens, I love this game. It's tactically rich. It's got a lot of great choices. Probably one of my favorites. So my reprint of the year, Glenn Drover's Empire's Age of Discovery.
Hey, Chris Renshaw here again, and the best reprint of 2015 has to be Mission Red Planet. While most of the gameplay is very similar, the small tweaks that Fantasy Flight did do tremendously increase the theme. From even the small tweak of counting down cards from 9876 instead of counting up cards, having just the plastic astronauts, everything just really brought the theme out of this game so much more than the original version. That's why Mission Red Planet is the best reprint of 2015.
Hey, it's Dan. The best reprint of this year is kind of tough because I'm not sure if Survive Space Attack counts as a reprint or a whole new game. So I'll let Tom decide on that one, and I'll let Bonacor argue that one as well. Loop and Chewie, though, since we do have the new Star Wars movie coming out, Loop and Chewie was a perfect reprint, and since it does change its player count a little bit, it really helps me be able to play it with my kids. So I'll say Loop and Chewie with an asterisk to Survive Space Attack, my reprint of 2015.
Jeff here, and for best reprint, well, there's only one place I can go, and that's the new version of perhaps my favorite game of all time, Through the Ages. And CGE did a terrific job of cleaning up a lot of some of the little niggly stuff with Through the Ages, making it smoother to play, making the military a little bit more in line with the other pieces, and just generally tuning up the cards. So they did a really bang-up job on it. And I'm looking forward to playing this version many more times in the future.
This is Jason Katarski, and my pick for best reprint of 2015 is a little game called 6 Nimmt that Mayfair did. And the reason I love this reprint is because it brings one of my favorite games of all time back to the US in its original glory, Mooses. It's not the Walking Dead card game, it's not Category 5, it's not Slide 5, it is just 6 Nimmt in all its glory, and I'm glad to have it available so I can buy it for everyone that I want to recommend great card games to.
Hi there, again Niels, and this time we are talking about Reprint of the Year, Hansa Teutonica, a game from 2009, but now from a different publisher in the US, reprinted, therefore one of my favorites of 2009 and now 2015 reprint of the year.
Best reprint of the year is a game that Tony and I have been waiting on. We talked about it on our show, Stronghold 2nd Edition. And this game did not disappoint, Tony. We got to play it, taught by Ignacy at BGG Con. Such a great game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so it hasn't really made it out here in the U.S., but when it does make it, you are going to love it. Definitely put it on your buy list, Stronghold 2nd Edition.
Hey now, this is Jamie from The Secret Cabal, and the best reprint this year, of course, it's Fury of Dracula. This is one of my favorite games of all time. It's in my top 10 games of all time, and this reprint makes it better than it used to be. It's the best hidden movement game that is out there. It's so much fun. It's such a crazy romp across Europe, trying to attack and destroy Dracula. I absolutely love this reprint. They did such a great job of updating the mechanics. Fury of Dracula.
Jonathan from the Snakes Cast. A lot of the most popular reprints of 2015 are games that basically don't really work in a board game cafe because they're too long, they take up too much time, too much space. But one game that was out of print for ages and is a godsend to see back again is Reiner Knizia's Samurai. That game is so useful. It scales well between 2 and 4 players. I kind of miss the old art, but the new edition is beautiful too. It's accessible, it's rich. Wonderful. So happy to see it back in print again.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jeanette the Metal Meeple, and for me the best reprint has to be Mission Red Planet, the 2nd edition by Fantasy Flight Games. I really like the fact that they reworked most of the mission cards to where you at least can get some points and it's not always just get everything or nothing. And I also like that they added the moon into the game. It's somewhat like a mini expansion and it keeps the game fresh. So anyway, till next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
Hi, the Broken Meeple here, and for the best reprint, I'm giving it to the Game of Thrones 2nd Edition LCG. The 1st edition was getting way too bloated and way too complex for anybody to join the game, despite the fact it was actually pretty good. This one now, revised artwork, streamlined rules, and starting from scratch. This is the entry point you need if you are interested in Game of Thrones. Lots of factions, lots of cool strategies. This is going to get better and better as time goes on. Join me for a game.
I'm going to agree with Mr. King. Poseidon's Kingdom is a game that I have been coveting for some time. and saw the expense and the difficulty of acquiring a copy, and it just wasn't happening. And seeing the new reprint, and the reprint is solid, and the figurines are adorable, and the game is cool, and just really happy to finally have this game available, and one in my collection. Poseidon's Kingdom is my favorite reprint of the year.
Another one I probably have done a top 10 list on, because this was a great year for reprints.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of excellent games came out, and I mean, big companies are bringing them out, smaller companies, games switching from one company to the other. For me, I'm going to go with Stellar Conflict, which is a reprint of Lightspeed. Yeah! Love this game. I'm really hoping that Stronghold brings this one to America, since they brought a lot of the Artipia games, especially the ones that are in this universe, which is the Beyond the Stars universe. But it's a fun game. Throw cards on a table, see where they shoot. Great times. That's Stellar Conflict.
We also learned how to do the European pronunciation of Hansa Teutonica, or Teutonica. Teutonica.
Yes.
You learn something new every day.
I've already learned my new thing for today.
We all love a fun game, but sometimes we need to make ourselves think. It's time now for the biggest brain burners of 2015.
Hey chaps, if you've ever been deceived by a cover, this game is one of those games. It looks like a fast-paced action game, but it's actually a very deep, thinky game. And when I say deep, I mean deep. With enemies that have programmed actions and heroes that have to calculate their actions from random dice rolls, this game is cold and calculated. Yes, Barry's biggest brain burner is Assault on Precinct 13. No, sorry, Apocalypse Chaos.
Hello, my friends. It's the Game Boy Geek here. Best brain burner for me is Dimension. This is sort of a three-dimensional puzzle game that is timed and kind of frantic, where there's certain rules, like there's all these spheres, we'll just call them balls, and you're putting them in sort of a pyramid shape, and every round there's rules. You can't have a black ball on the bottom. A blue ball can't touch a green ball. A white ball can't touch an orange ball. And you're trying to make it so your pyramid's built without breaking any rules. Oh man, my brain melts in a good way.
It's the Four Corners here. The biggest brain burner I played this year was Food Chain Magnate. Every turn you're trying to figure out the best way to run your business and trying to figure out what your opponents are going to do and what you can do to stop them getting the upper hand.
This is Chris with the biggest brain burner in 2015. If you're going to burn some synapses, you might as well burn them on Tricarion. This is a competitive Euro game in which you are an illusionist in the 19th century that are building tricks, hiring assistants, and performing outstanding magical acts using worker placement, simultaneous action selection, and creating a wonderful tableau that will bring you to the top of the magical world.
Dicey Chic here. The Prodigals Club is probably the biggest brain burner I enjoyed so far this year. It's basically Last Will times 3. In fact, you can even replace one of the 3 modules with Last Will if you like.
This is Alex from the Dukes of Dice podcast, and my biggest brain burner of this year has to go to Voyages of Marco Polo, a game that I didn't like all that much, but a game that tied my mind in knots.
Yeah, those last turns of yours sure took a while. This is Sean, and for me, the biggest brain burner was The Gallerist. There was so many things to consider, so many hoops to jump through, but such a great experience from Vital Lacerda. That's The Gallerist.
Hello, Eric Teo here, and the biggest brain burner for me in 2015 right now is The Voyages of Marco Polo. This was a game that has a lot of moving parts. There's movement, there's different cities that you want to go there to get the benefits immediately, or you can go there for long-term benefits. Then there's all the different action spaces you can do, and it all depends on the dice that you roll, and you need to look at your opponent's dice. So there's a lot of different things that require you to take note of and play well. So that is my biggest brain burner for 2015, The Voyages of Marco Polo.
Jeff here. My biggest brain burner of the year was Captains of Industry from Tasty Minstrel Games. This is a super meaty economic game where the players are really setting the markets and setting pricing and undercutting each other, and It's very interesting the way the dynamics develop during the game, but it is really thinky, and you got to be in the mood to play it. I had a chance to play this a couple of times this year, and would look forward to trying this one again. Captains of Industry.
I'm Donald.
And I'm Eric from Onboard Games. And my burned brain was burned mostly by playing Tragedy Looper this year. Just the whole... And I was usually the storytelling guy. I forget what they call him in this game. And so I was trying to juggle all of the stuff going on and making sure I could maneuver everybody in the right place at the right time. Meanwhile, on the other side of the table, all my players were trying to valiantly deduce different things in the game. And by the end of it, we both had a great time for each scenario we played, but we were also like, man, I'm tired.
I can't think of one because my brain hurts.
It burned it right out of your brain.
Well,
huh?
I tell you what, the one that I had the toughest time figuring out and sort of developing anything, result, that you could say, hey, you planned that out was Five Tribes, with the picking up the pieces and moving them around and gathering them, doing it Mancala style and with everything that's out on the board. I know that's not going to be a popular pick for brain burning, but just sort of the way the pieces sort of interact in that is one that, I'm going to say that burned my brain.
Hello, it's Stalkers here. Best brain burner. Well, it's kind of a doozy, because I really want this to be the best reprint, but let's be fair, it isn't StarCraft, it is Forbidden Stars. It takes most of the mechanics from StarCraft and just streamlines it, and puts it in a Warhammer universe, which I don't really care much about. But the game itself is very good, and it feels balanced even for 3 players and 4 players. So Forbidden Stars is most definitely one of my favorite brain burners this year.
Hey now, this is Jamie from the Secret Cabal, and the biggest brain burner of this year was 504. Now, the reason this is a brain burner for me is because I really try to get through that rulebook, and boy, I can't get through it. Every time we do these brain burner things, it's always because I can't get through a rulebook. The rulebook is so crazy, and I just don't know what's going on half the time. I finally got it, Maybe it was just too late in the night for me to do it, but boy, did my brain hurt trying to learn 504.
Hello, the Broken People again, and Argent the Consortium is a no-brainer for this one. No pun intended. Level 99 Games gave us Pixel Tactics, which already had a ton of variety in that small deck of cards. Here, you've got items, you've got spells that you can upgrade, you've got supporting characters, you've got hidden objectives that you have to discover, you've got workers with different special abilities, and all of these have B-sides as well as A-sides. Oh my god, the amount you have to comprehend in this game is ridiculous. My brain is going to explode.
My original choice for biggest brain burner was going to be Food Chain Magnate. It is a game with a lot of paths to choose, and very overwhelming when you first look at it. But once you get into sort of that strategy, it's not too bad. Then I remembered Captains of Industry, which Jeff mentioned, and that one had me reeling, trying to figure out how to maneuver the market, manipulate things, so many levers to pull, and ways to totally mess yourself up in trying to win this and get the points at the end. And if I sat down and tried to this one again, I don't know if I would do any better. It's tricky. Captains of Industry, my biggest brain burner of the year.
Yeah, there's no question that's definitely a brain-burning game. I'm going to pick Gallerist. There's a lot going on in Gallerist, and it's kind of straightforward what you need to do, but the ways to get there, the different amounts of points, many different ways. I think for me, biggest brain burner in this situation, I'm picking biggest brain burner that I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm picking Gallerist over maybe Captains of Industry I didn't like as much, really. So I'm
I did
go
enjoy
with
it,
Gallerist.
it's just my brain hurt.
Well, let's get to something that makes our brain hurt less.
Con! Gaming convention, that is. Here are our favorite events of 2015.
Hey chaps, Barry here. Now in 2015, there were quite a lot of events that I attended. I attended Paris Ludic, but only for 2 hours because I had to rush my wife to hospital. I went to the fabulous Asmodee event in Paris and played lots of prototypes. But the event that I enjoyed the most was Essen. This is the first time that I spent all 4 days there, and I did it with 2 good friends, and we played a bucket load of games. And the icing on the cake is, when I managed to pluck up enough courage, I hang around with the chaps at the Dice Tower. And that made it a bon souvenir.
Hello, my friends. It's the Game Boy Geek here. Best event for me again this year was BGG-Con. I just love how this convention feels small, yet it attracts many publishers with an amazing exhibit hall, lots of well-known designers, even people coming over from Europe to this because it's big enough. So it's weird. It's big enough to bring the people, but small enough to still feel small, and it's just a ton of fun. However, I think over the next few years, Dice Tower Con's going to be nipping at its heels.
This is the Four Corners, and our favorite gaming event this year. This one was easy. Dice Tower Con was fantastic again this year. The atmosphere is always great, and making it part of a family vacation was a great way to experience it, and having our friends along with us was even better.
Hey guys, this is Sean. I was lucky enough to attend many different events this year. The Gathering of Friends, Gen Con, Origins, but the one that stuck with me the most was BGG Con. And maybe it's because of its size, maybe it's because it was the first time I'd ever been to it, but it was so much fun to be able to meet with so many different gamers and actually connect with them. I'm already looking forward to next year. If you ever get a chance to go to BGG Con, I highly recommend it. My gaming event of the year.
This is Anthony, and my favorite gaming event from 2015 was Gen Con. Yes, it was also one of my biggest disappointments, but only because I couldn't get all the awesome games that were coming out at Essen. As an event, it was fantastic. It was big, exciting, and it was really the last time that all four of us hosts got together and got to play games in the same room. So Gen Con was amazing. Definitely looking forward to it next year, as well as a lot of other great conventions.
Hey everybody, it's the Board Game Point of View, and our favorite gaming event of 2015 was Origins. It was the first board game convention any of us had gone to, and it was awesome.
It was indeed.
Yeah.
Playing board games until 2 a.m. with Alex eating is something you never forget.
That's right.
Yeah. Shout out to the North Market.
Shout out to Donuts.
In Columbus, Ohio. Right. It's an awesome place.
Hey, this is Patrick.
This is Jeremy.
And this is Rob. Our favorite gaming event of 2015 is RobCon. Look, I know I sound like a jerk having a con named after me, but I didn't name it. These guys did.
I mean, look, this is just a weekend where we get together with friends and have an excuse to have some fun and play some games.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you can't make it out to Gen Con, you can have a weekend with your buddies. All of us have that favorite weekend. So our favorite event, RobCon.
And this is Stephen Bonacore, Stronghold and Board Game Insider podcast. And yeah, I got to go with Board Game Geek Con. I talk about it as being my favorite of the year. Phenomenal con, both of them. The one in Dallas, the one later in the one in earlier in the year in the spring in Dallas. And I'm also going to give a shout out to Tom's Con, Dice Tower Con, up and coming, great convention, sold out in 9 minutes this year. Fantastic job, guys.
Chris Renshaw here again, and my favorite gaming event for 2015 has to be Gen Con. Oh my gosh, it was so huge. It was my first Gen Con, and now I'm always going to be going. I had so much fun seeing all the new things and playing all the new releases that were going to come on, and the best part of all was just seeing a lot of the people, a lot of you guys, the live Dice Tower event. All those things were just so awesome in my opinion, and that's why Gen Con has to be my favorite gaming event.
This is Sean from the Dukes of Dice, and so many great gaming events to choose from, but my favorite of the year had to be Dice Tower Con. It was great to get out to Florida to play a ton of awesome games, meet a bunch of awesome people. It was just a fantastic experience, and I'm looking forward to next year.
And this is Alex, and my favorite board gaming event was Extra Life, if only for one reason. We got to play Star Wars, the interactive VHS game.
Brutal. Awful.
Brutal, but fun.
Hi, this is Jared from Flip the Table, and my favorite gaming event is easily Extra Life. For those of you that don't know, Extra Life is a charity event that supports Children's Miracle Network, and it's a 24-hour game-a-thon. So it's literally a great time and place to play board games for a whole day straight. I can't express enough how great it is, and it's for a great cause.
Hey, it's Dan. My favorite gaming event each year generally goes to either something like BGG or Gen Con, just because there's such extravaganzas and it's so much fun. But this year, our 5th annual Gamers for Cures charity board game marathon raised over $20,000. We had people from all over the country come to join us. It was such a great time, and we had so much fun and such great support for all of the community, online and in person, that it was the greatest gaming event that I had this year. Gamers for Cures, my 2015 best event.
Jeff here, and my favorite gaming event this year wasn't specifically organized as like a big convention or something, but I've been teaching a board game design class up at NYU, and I kept talking about Advanced Civilization so much that the class said, hey, we have to actually try this game. So we got a few intrepid souls, 8 of us to be exact, and set aside an entire Saturday during the term and sat down and played through the game, and it was absolutely fantastic and had a blast.
This is Greg Schlosser talking about the best gaming event of 2015. For me, attending gaming convention events are a matter of too many to attend with too little time to do it. So I am down to about 5 or 6 conventions a year, but by far my favorite, and this is going to be certainly biased, is Gulf Games. It's a convention I organized back in 1998, held twice a year. It's kind of an invitation-only event, open to families. Folks who attend are just super. We've become great, great friends and just have a wonderful time. So my top gaming event, Gulf Games.
Hey folks, Mark Street here. My favorite gaming event of the year was at BGG Con. I teamed up with Ignacy Trevicek and Emerson Matsutsi for an amazing epic throwdown of Robinson Crusoe. We auctioned off the 4th seat in the Jack Vassell Memorial Fund. Our winner, David Cordero, was a blast to play with. We all had an amazing time, and we can't wait to do it again. And a big thanks to David for contributing to the Jack Vassell Memorial Fund.
Hello gamers, Dicey Chic here. The Gathering of Friends is my favorite gaming event. One reason is that it's 10 days of gaming, so you don't feel rushed to play everything right now like you might at a 3 or 4 day event. Lunches and dinners are more leisurely and there's more socializing in general. I also get to see my friends from overseas.
Hi there, back again, Niels, and I visited a lot of conventions during the last year, but my gaming event of 2015 was for me Geekway to the West. Can you see it? I don't know. Geekway to the West. My personal favorite gaming event of 2015. And what was yours?
Hey, Eric, what's our best gaming event?
Well, this shouldn't come as any surprise to anyone who listens to our show, but definitely BGG Con. Great fun, great friends, a lot of neat stuff that you can do, a very unhectic schedule. It's just a fantastic event.
I agree. And I think that this is one of, games are like this too, but it's the experiences that you have and the folks who are with you do a lot to generate that excitement or fun. So for me, yes, it's on board games. I get to hang out with you, for the one time a year. And of course, with a bunch of other friends that I don't see all that often.
Yep. Well, I'm Eric.
And I'm Donald.
From Onboard Games.
This is Ryan from Out of Game. And the best gaming event of 2015 was BGG Con. This might be a surprise because I love Gen Con, but for me, personally, as someone who just loves to sit down and play board games exclusively at Gen Con, BGG Con is completely dedicated to just doing just that with the best gaming library you could find. So BGG Con 2015, best gaming event of the year.
Marty and Tony here. Best gaming event for me, Origins. For me, that is still the biggest, smallest con that exists. There's a lot of people there, a lot of vendors, a lot of great food. It's just one of those that still has a very homey feel, but has all the niceness of all the bigger cons.
For me, BGG Con, because, I went to a couple, but for me, it's the people getting to play the games, and I finally got to play that Grail game called Queen's Gambit.
Hey now, this is Jamie from the Secret Cabal, and the best gaming event from last year was, of course, again, Origins. I'm sorry, Tom, that it wasn't Dice Tower Con, but Origins is still my favorite. It's a big con, but it still has that little convention feeling. It's intimate. There's great food within walking distance. There's lots of fun things to do in Columbus. It's a great city. All of my friends go there. It's just the greatest gaming convention there is for me. Origins every year is my favorite gaming event.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jeanette, the Metal Meeple, and for me, my favorite gaming event this year is Dice Tower Con. I've been to Gen Con many of times, I've been to other small gaming conventions, but Dice Tower Con was just so sincere. There's everyone there was really nice. I got to help out with the Dice Tower crew and everything, and it was just a lot of fun. Got to meet lots of people. It was a blast, and I'm actually probably looking forward to going to it more next year than Gen Con, and I've been every year it's been in Indy, so anyway, till next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
This is Tom Kendrick, and my favourite gaming event of 2015 was the UK Games Expo. It's the UK's biggest event, which means by US or German standards almost nothing, but I'm proud of our convention. It's not overwhelming, it's warm and welcoming. This year I met Quinns from Shut Up and Sit Down, Eric Lang and Anton Torres from Fantasy Flight Games. Also, after the convention we headed back and had enough energy to play all our games into the wee hours. Bliss. Also, Tom and Sam should be coming to UK Games Expo 2016. Hooray!
This is Trent Howell, and my favorite gaming event of the year once again goes to SaltCon in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's all about open gaming. I've met and made friends with a number of people over the years and continue to meet new friends and play just tons of games for the whole weekend long. Fantastic event. SaltCon.
Hi, Broken Meeple here again, and this was not a difficult choice. Essen 2015 was definitely the best event I went to this year. I was like a kid in a candy store going to Essen for the very first time and seeing all these stalls and colours and games everywhere that I could demo and play and talk to designers and get my games signed and everything. I wish I could have played more games while I was there, but it didn't matter. I just got to walk around and gasp in the awe of it all. This is the mecca for board gamers, and I will be there in 2016 as well.
All right. I sort of go back and forth as the years go by on these two events. Dice Tower Convention was fantastic, but we were working hard at that one. I think BGG Con this year felt like a vacation, and I had a chance to do some things I hadn't done before. I did the puzzle hunt at BGG Con this year. It was amazing. I cannot recommend that thing enough. I got to do another escape room, had to wake up really early in the morning to sign up for it, but we got to do an escape room, and just got to try out some things that I don't normally get to do at other events. Battling Tops, got to play a whole bunch of games. It was a fantastic event, extremely well run. I'm so happy to have gone to BGG Con this year. And Dice Tower Con, very close second.
In other news, looking for a new co-host. There's a lot of good conventions. It's always hard for me to choose, like, which my favorite conventions are, because, every convention we went to, we had a good time. There was no convention I went to that was bad. Certainly, some are more exhausting than others. It's Gen Con and Essen are not even close. I mean, they're the most exhausting conventions by far.
Oh, yes. But we
had a good Origins, despite the Secret Cabal. We had... there was just good conventions all around. But I'm going to go with my runner-up is the Gamma Trade Show. Because I really just like that whole experience. I don't care about the Vegas thing that much, but I don't know how we work hard.
Yeah.
And then we're done. And we get to hang out with designers and publishers.
Yep.
And every year I have fun doing that. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I just said why. But my favorite is Dice Tower Con. It really is. Yes, I work really hard at it, and this year I worked harder at it than I've ever done before. But this is just a personal thing for me, but when I go to Dice Tower Con, I know everybody. Or, I guess I should flip that. Everybody knows me.
It's true.
But I think I love family gaming. Or at least the atmosphere of family gaming. And I've not been to any convention that's as strong as Dice Tower Con, ever. Mm-hmm. Origins has a bit of it. Sometimes, at least during the day.
Yep.
But Dice Tower Con has it in spades. It really does. I love the feel, has the best gaming library. I love the hotel. Easily the best hotel we stay in over the course of the year. Unless Eric wants to pick the gambling hotels, but...
No, I save more money at the Dice Tower Con Hotel.
But I don't say this to disparage the other conventions we go to, because they're all fantastic. So, they're all good. That's just my favorite. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it will be my favorite next year. Hey! Let's talk about some other odd things.
And now it's time for something different. Categories that didn't fit anywhere else.
Okay, this is Jared Whitley with Board Game Breakfast. And to close out the year, I felt compelled to do a special section on my friendly local game store. The one I've been going to once a week about for the last 5 years, the Game Parlor in Chantilly, Virginia. This is its eulogy. It has closed its doors forever. It was a mainstay of gaming in my area for well over 20 years, and now it's no more. It's been a very sad way for me to end the year, and it's forcing me to reevaluate what my gaming future will be. I honestly don't know what's going to happen with my board game group. Some of us are going to go to one store, some of us are going to go to another. And some of us will just be lost in time, like tears in the rain. Usually this is where I'd like to make some kind of pithy one-liner or pop culture reference, but I can't, because it's just too sad.
Hi, Suzanne here, and of course I have to talk about the best board game app of 2015, which is Le Havre Inland Port. Although it was a weak year for board game apps overall, Le Havre Inland Port would stand out in the best of years and can be used as an example to other board game app creators on how you can do an app game right. Le Havre Inland Port, best board game app of 2015.
This is Paul Owen of Dice Tower News. I've been tracking Kickstarter projects for over 2 years now, and I've noticed some trends in board game crowdfunding. The first big trend is seasonal effects. January and February consistently yield fewer funded projects compared to the rest of the year. In 2015, the seasonal swings were stronger than they were in 2014, with lower lows in the dips and higher peaks in the high months. In June and July, over 135 board game projects funded. That's 15 new games every week for 2 months. Not even Tom can keep up with that. One more observation, the average board game project sets a funding goal of about $13,000. But January and August were exceptions in 2015, with funding goals averaging only $7,400 those 2 months, and August was low in 2014 as well. So occasionally we see pockets of very small projects on Kickstarter, and we saw more of those in 2015 than in 2014. What do these trends indicate? Stronger seasonal effects and wider variation in funding goals. It'll be interesting to see if those trends hold up in 2016. This is Paul Owen with your Kickstarter Trending Report.
Hello, this is Doug Ross again. The best Norwegian board game. Ha, you didn't see that coming, did you? Well, all kidding aside, I'm mentioning this because Automania by Christian Amundsen Østby is a great Euro game where you manufacture cars, and it is a solid game, and I just want to spread the word about this game because it is that good. So, Automania, best Norwegian game of 2015.
Hey chaps, Barry here. Now I have to make up an award called Why. I played a game called Game of Gnomes by the Fraggle Brothers, and it's a pretty nice family game. But it comes in a humongous box with a humongous plastic mountain which doesn't really do anything in the game. And I have to ask myself, why couldn't they just make a normal size game without the mountain? They could save money on production and still sell just as many copies. Why?
Jonathan from the Snakes Cast, and I'd like to tell you about what I think is the best cafe game of the year. Cafe games have to be easy to introduce people to, they have to have a very broad appeal, and they have to be good for introducing people to the wonderful world of the kinds of games that we like. This year, that one goes to Uwe Rosenberg's Patchwork. A game of competitive quilt making immediately gets people's attention. Those colorful patches stitching together in a game that takes just long enough is just right for a board game cafe.
Hey chaps, Barry here. Now the one game that got my attention this year because of its theme is a game called Prime Time by Golden Egg Games. Players take control of a TV channel and they have to arrange the programming for the nights, Monday to Friday, and get as many viewers to watch their channel as possible. The game is worker placement and has humour in its characters and programs that you can buy and put on your channel. And the theme and the mechanics go together like bread on butter.
Please no more bagpipes.
Okay. I have a couple categories here. Last year, our Company of the Year. This one's kind of a tough one to pick the Company of the Year. Which company I think did a lot of cool stuff this year. There's some good contenders here. Obviously, we have Cool Mini or Not, which still seems to be like stampeding. And just their or not section, it just keeps growing with
yeah.
Queen's Necklace and the Grizzled, and they have that Smog and the Queen's Service, and then they have Blood Rage and Rum and Bones and such. Really solid company.
Yeah.
Asmodee as a group is just phenomenal. Blue Orange really kind of came out of nowhere this year and made some strides and is growing. Stronghold, will say one good thing about them, because we should. It's really kind of positioned themselves to become the heavy Euro game central.
Yeah.
In a sense. There's different companies, I think, that have done a good job. I mean, we're seeing the Greater Than Games and Dice Hate Me with them combining.
Yep.
Which would be one of the big news stories of the year, by the way. We're seeing that, and I think that has done well for both of those companies. But I'm going to go with F2Z, if for no other reason than they snagged Plaid Hat. But not only did they snag Plaid Hat, they threw out a board game that just Everyone knew it was going to be big. It was basically the Star Wars of board gaming. It was like, pandemic's coming, pandemic's coming, pandemic's coming. Don't talk about it. Don't spoil it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay? And then there's the pandemic nerds. Well, it better be like Pandemic because we've already played Pandemic, and it better match with the first one. And they're teaching their kids, this is the new Pandemic. It's just like the Pandemic your parents played.
Yep.
I'm telling you, Pandemic, Legacy of Star Wars. But, I mean, not only that, they had a lot of other great games. Their other company, they started Pretzel Games with Flick 'em Up, also did incredibly well. So I'm going to go with F2Z Entertainment.
Yeah, good choice.
For Best Designer of the Year, I have to go with the same combo I said last year.
Okay.
I said Eric Lang last year, and with a close follow-up of Bruno Catala. And I'm going to say the same thing this year. Eric Lang, I mean, seriously, he's still living on Dice Masters. He did XCOM, which came out earlier in the year and got a lot of waves, and he's ending the year with Blood Rage.
Yeah.
His Kickstarters, like they just finished up the new Arcadia Quest Kickstarter, seem to routinely do over $1 million.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
His others Kickstarter also did that well. He came out with the Warhammer 40K card game. Was that this year? I think that was this year. Maybe that was last year. But either way, he's had a lot of really solid games this year. And when his name is on a game, people certainly take notice at this point. However, Catala just keeps pumping them out. I mean, his expansion for 5 Tribes was really good. People were taking a look at Raptor. Anytime a Catala game comes around, it's like, wow, this game is really good. And so I know people might argue with me there, but I really think these designers just keep putting out really good games. Okay. Almost there.
Yes.
It's a Dice Tower Top 10.
And now the moment you've all been waiting for. The top 10 games of 2015.
The Dice Tower's top 10 list is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. Cool Stuff Inc. Cool stuff in stock at coolstuffinc.com.
All right. Well, every year we have to mention contractually that when we do these top 10 lists, there is no physical way. And I mean this seriously. I'm not even joking here.
Yeah.
You cannot play all the games. And you know how I know that? Because I tried. It's my full-time job.
Yeah.
I think I played 400 to 500 different games this year, and I didn't play them all. So there are a few games that maybe had we played them, they would made our list somehow. Eric, what might those have been?
Yeah, well, first I should mention that, we do this every year, and I did manage to play all of my 2014 wish list in 2015. So that was good. Good job, me. So on that list this year is 504. We already mentioned that one. I haven't had a chance to try it yet. Above and Below has been at the top of the playlist for a while, and then the holidays started, and I didn't get a chance to play it. Tail Feathers, my son, for some reason, is like, well, it's not cooperative. I don't want to play it. I'm like, but it's got all the mice and the birds, and it looks great. Haven't had a chance to play that one yet. Thunderbirds, I did not get a chance to play at Essen, and at some point I need to give that a whirl. Motainai, I've been hearing good things about, want to try that one. Like you said, Tom, it's your full-time job, and think how I feel. This is not my full-time job, and I'm just feeling swamped. There's so many great games, and it's hard to keep up with them all.
Yeah, and so I wrote here the same thing I wrote last year, which was none, ha 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 ha. But that's not quite true. There's still some games I just loaded my car up with games for our South Florida Christmas convention, which is not really a convention, but a game day. But if Eric can call Con a convention, whatever.
Okay. Conton's a 3-day event.
Wait, what's the one that's only 1 day that you do?
I don't do it, but Unity Games up in Boston is only a single
That's what
day.
I meant.
But
Unity
that hasn't
game.
happened. That didn't happen last year.
What?
No, it didn't happen. They had like scheduling difficulties and inner turmoil in the group. I don't know. I've never been, but it didn't happen.
Oh, well, anyhow, I packed up the car with games for all these, and there's still a lot of games I need to play from 2015. But I think and of course I won't know this till I played them all, but I think I've played all the ones that had a chance of making my top 10. I recently played a game which I was like, oh, this could make my top 10. And then I found out it's not out yet. It's going to be out in 2016, so it has a chance for next year.
Yeah, there you go. That has to be particularly difficult for you in December.
We'll see. We're still working through all those Essen games, but we play all the ones that look great.
Yeah.
Right now we're playing all the ones that look good.
Yeah.
With occasionally one that looks bad.
just for flavor. It's like the saffron of board gaming.
All right. So, as we get to the best games here, obviously we had to knock good ones off. And let me see real quick. 2 of the ones I just barely missed my list are on Eric's.
Yep.
I think just 2 of them. So I'll mention the 2 that didn't make Eric's list. One is Rum and Bones.
Mm-hmm.
A great pirate game. One of the greatest pirate games. In fact, I would have said the greatest pirate game, but there's another contender for that now. And Marco Polo. A really good, solid Euro game that I like. So shut up and stop saying I don't like Euro games.
I wasn't saying anything.
No, there's like a guy, every time I don't like a Euro game, he's like, well, Tom never likes Euro games. That's exactly why. But I do like Euro games. I just like good ones.
I like The Voyages of Marco Polo as well. Neat game.
All right. Well, let's get to our top 10. Here we go.
Number 10.
We don't need to talk too much about many of these because we've already mentioned them. Frontier Stations from Victory Point Games was a big surprise for me. Neat cooperative game working together with the people to your left and right to defeat threats. It's a little Machi Koro-ish in the way that resources are generated, trying to get your engine to work so you can fight off these bad things. Neat game with some tough choices to make. Frontier Stations is still high on my list and my number 10.
Yeah, we will go through this one pretty quickly. My number 10 is a deck building game from Cool Mini or Not, Xeno Shift. I loved it. It felt like Starship Troopers. It was a very strong cooperative game. Players have to work with each other to win. Has great artwork, just a solid game. No miniatures, and yet still a fantastic game from Cool Mini or Not.
Number 9.
Number 9, I mentioned, is another one of my surprises of the year, Ophir. This lovely little pick up and deliver game in microcosm with great production values. Number 9, Ophir.
Yes, and number 9 is Champions of Midgard. This is a worker placement game from Gray Fox Games by the same guys who did the same designer did Police Precinct. I love his theming. I love the Viking. It's a good sequel to like Lords of Waterdeep, but it has dice rolling in it. Just a very solid, fun, thematic worker placement game, but still in that medium weight category. That's Champions of Midgard.
Number 8.
My number 8, Mary mentioned as one of her Brainburner games, and that's The Prodigal's Club. This is really, I like this better than Last Will. I just think the theming works a little better. It seemed a little more straightforward, but still has lots to do. Really neat game. One of my favorite resource management and worker placement games of the year. Number 8, The Prodigal's Club.
Now, this is one of those games that I have not played yet. So this could possibly... I don't think it would make my top 10. I think it might make my top 20, though, but we'll see. My number 8 is high. No, it's not higher on Eric's list. Why? 7 Wonders Duel. How could you not like this game, Eric?
I do like the game quite a bit. I've only played it once, and I haven't picked up a copy yet.
No, and I say, and I'm really, seriously, folks, going to say this sort of thing jokingly, because really, 7 Wonders, I mean, there's so many good games came out this year that any game that I think is great and is not on Eric's list could have easily, there's just so many good games.
Right.
So, but 7 Wonders Duel, it's not just a 2-player version of the bigger game. It has similar feeling, but there's also a lot of differences in it. Lots of fun. Great choice for 2 players. 7 Wonders Duel.
I'd have to decide whether I like 7 Wonders Duel or Raptor better as a 2-player head-to-head game.
Number 7.
My number 7, I mentioned already, Food Chain Magnate, the new Splotter game. Really solid. I love the graphic design. It's got a nice witty sense of humor, but it's also a real solid, crunchy, lots of paths to explore. Really neat game. Food Chain Magnate. Number 7.
Still looking forward to playing that one also. Flick 'em Up is my number 7. I like flicking games. The reprint of Catacombs was high on my list this year. Flick 'em up, Western style. You put on a cowboy hat, play some spaghetti Western music, and flick discs around a table. Also amazing components. So much fun. Flick 'em up.
Number 6.
My number 6 is going to show up on Tom's list in a bit, so I will catch him on the next loop.
My number 6 is Baseball Highlights 2045. This is a deck builder, my second deck builder on my list, and it's a game about playing baseball, but you don't have to like baseball, although that does help. It's a very quick game. It almost feels a little bit like War, but as the game progresses, you play a game and then you add some stuff to your deck. Then you play another game, you add some stuff to your deck, and your deck just keeps getting better and cooler, and it's a lot of fun to play against the other person. Really neat game, Baseball Highlights 2045.
I need to try this one again because the way that people are raving about this game, I feel like I missed something. I got this explained to me sort of secondhand at the Gamma trade show a year or two ago, and it just fell flat for me, and I know I'm missing something because people are just raving about this game, and I need to try it again.
Number 5.
My number 5 is going to show up on Tom's list in just a little bit, but I got a card he wants.
I'm starting to feel a bit of deja vu here with my number 5. It's Roll for the Galaxy, but am I in the right year?
I don't think you are. Maybe you are. I know I put it on my list at number 5 in 2014, so I wholeheartedly agree with you. Last year.
Well, here's the deal, folks. We had to decide this. What happened is Roll for the Galaxy, they came with 50 copies to Board Game Geek Con.
Yeah.
I think half of those copies were bad.
Yes.
One of those was Eric's.
Yes.
But he still played the game anyway with one of the other copies. However, that was like 25 copies or so that were in America. And so we are calling that as not an official 2014 game. It did not actually hit stores till 2015.
I think it may have been in like the last 2 weeks of 2014. But yeah, you made a ruling, but I had already put it on my list for last year, so I made it ineligible for this one.
Stand true, Eric, stand true. But hey, folks, Roll for the Galaxy is a great game. It's like Race for the Galaxy. I probably like it a little bit better. I like the dice manipulation, and it came out with an expansion this year, which helped it out even more.
On my wish list.
Number 4.
My number 4, I mentioned on the family games list, and that's Tiny Epic Galaxies. This is one of those where the simplicity and the streamlined nature of the whole thing really just makes it all click. Explaining how the dice work moves really fast. I like the action selection. I love the following mechanism, where if you get culture points, you can do things on other people's turns, and making that whole thing churn is so much fun. I love the pace and the simplicity of Tiny Epic Galaxies. My number 4.
My number 4 is Big Epic Galaxies,
yes.
Also known as Star Wars Armada. You want to take a Star Destroyer and fly it across the board and have X-Wing swinging around and a Calamari Cruiser and just and the Millennium Falcon. You can have all that on the table at one time. It's amazing. I love it. I like it better than X-Wing. I've decided actually to stop collecting X-Wing.
Okay.
And to concentrate on Star Wars Armada instead. Lots of fun. I like just the big fleets.
Number 3.
Number 3, Tom mentioned as one of those games that just barely missed his list, and that's Spectre Ops from Plaid Hat and Nazca Games. If you love tension, this is the one for you. And this is the one hide-and-seek style game that, although I've played many others, this is the one that has worked the best. This one is solid. It's tense. I'm starting to sweat just thinking about it. Spectre Ops, fantastic game. My number 3.
Yep, it is fun. I love the Scotland Yard theming of it. Any other year, it would have shot up to number 1 right away. But
yeah,
my number 3 is higher on Eric's list, or at least it is this month.
Number 2.
My number 2 is the other one that Tom said just missed his list, and that's Codenames. Until I played my number 1, this was gunning for my game of the year. Again, it's worked with so many people. It is my style of game. Crunchy, precise, specific, language. It's really good. And different groups of people make it a different challenge every time you play it. Codenames, my number 2.
My number 2 is Eric's number 6, and that is Time Stories. Now, this was a close one for me because my number 3 and number 2 were very close.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go with Time Stories on the edge because I just love the theming. I love how strong the theme is in Time Stories, and the experience of playing Time Stories is one of the best experiences I've ever had playing a game ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And I have to go with that because I want to remember my gaming moments. I still remember like different moments when I was a kid and I went to amusement park and things. And I did lots of fun things as a kid, but only some of them stick out. Just like I do lots of fun board games, but only some stick out. This one stuck out amazingly. Yeah. I love it. Cannot wait for the next expansion. Time Stories.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. Probably the only reason that it's not higher up on the list is that I have not yet played the Marcy case. I'm itching to get that same group back together that played the Asylum, and I'm this close to like a family game day going, all right, I'm not going to get that group together. Family, we're playing this because I really want to expose them to that one. And yes, can't wait for more. I love that it's a puzzle to explore, to solve. That's the style of game this is. It is a puzzle to explore and solve. And working your way through that is such a rush. Can't wait to play more.
All right, let's see what our contributors think is the best game.
And finally, number 1.
Hello, chaps. Now, we get to the crunch. What is the game of the year for me? I would like to say Potion Explosion because I'm stating it now is going to win the Spiel des Jahres next year. But on a personal note, I have chosen New York 1901. It is a timeless classic. This is a game that's going to withstand the tests of time. It's simple, it's elegant, and almost everybody can play it. Yes, it's a family game, and there's one thing I like doing, and that is playing games with my family.
Hey, it's Graham from the Four Corners. Best game of the year? Hands down, no questions asked. Food Chain Magnet from Splotter. This game is now either my first or second on my favorite games of all time. I love everything about the game, from the lack of randomness to the theme. It's one of the few games I've played in a long time where I think about what I did wrong during the game and what I can try next time I play. Although it is a longer game and mistakes are costly and it's difficult to recover, I find the game utterly fascinating and I'm always looking forward to playing the game again. As for Megan, it was a toss-up between Pandemic Legacy and Food Chain Magnet. But as much fun as Pandemic is, Food Chain Magnet looks like it's likely to have a really strong replay value and earns a place on the shelf closest to the gaming table.
Hey guys, Sean here. My pick for the Game of the Year for 2015 is Time Stories. Now I know that's a controversial pick and there are a lot of different options out there, but what I liked about this title is its uniqueness and the fact that they obviously tried to do something really different here. When I was trying to come up with like what was going to be my Game of the Year, I kept thinking back to the first play of the Asylum scenario and how much fun we had with a group of friends as the story unfolded in front of us. Now I'm hoping to see Space Cowboys continue to support this title in years to come with more and more expansions, but there was no other gaming experience I had that topped that very first play, and I can't recommend it enough. Time Stories, my pick for Game of the Year.
This is Chris with the best board game for 2015. While there were many games deserving of this honor, there was one game that stood above and beyond the rest in the board gaming industry. It crushed Kickstarter, it blew up Gen Con, and it perfectly melded Eurogame mechanics and Ameritrash theming. That game, of course, would be Cool Mini or not, Blood Rage. You're looking for great miniatures? Done. Great artwork? Here. Great mechanics? You got it all. This game plays with a number of different types of gamers and really takes gaming to the next level. We're melding these two worlds together in a game that it employs some really interesting mechanics, tactics, and strategies. Everyone at Board Gamers Anonymous loved this game so much that we all had to have our own copy, despite the fact that we could just play that one. There's just something about Blood Rage that gets into your veins and really makes you want to play.
This is Jeremy.
This is Rob. And this is Patrick.
And my favorite game of 2015 has got to be Dark Moon. This is a great anxiety-inducing co-op. I've enjoyed the heck out of it. I got a ton of people, including my girlfriend, to love it. And so this one is definitely a up on my list.
Yeah, and my favorite game of the year is La Granja, whatever. It is a great game, a first design that just has so many wonderful elements in it. It's a rich Euro-style game that just clicks off all the boxes that I like. I'm just really impressed with this game, have played it a ton and loved every gameplay.
I absolutely agree with Patrick. He said everything I was going to say. So yes, my favorite game is also La Granja. The question I have is do I have to wait till 2016 for this check that Bonacore wrote me to clear?
This is Brian Counter. The best game for me was Roll for the Galaxy. After a couple of plays, I gleefully dumped Race for the Galaxy, as this is just so much better. I love dice chucking, and the randomness does not interfere with the enjoyment of the game. I'll grant you that if someone comes out with 3 green and 2 potential greens at the beginning, well, just say you won and let's start again. Past that, I love the way the players interact, and you have to gauge what other players are going to do, and the theme is fun.
Chris Renshaw here again, and the best game of 2015 has to be Blood Rage. Come on now, it has to be Blood Rage. Everybody's talking about it. The miniature and the component quality is great. The drafting gameplay is awesome. The board looks super. There's no argument. It's an awesome game. If you haven't played it, you need to go play it. It's great, and that's Blood Rage. It has to be the best board game of 2015.
Hello, Dan Hughes here. Now this is a tricky question because there's been a lot of really good games released in 2015. For example, I really love Shakespeare and Isle of Skye. And in the back of my mind, I know there's loads of Essen games that have yet to filter down to my group, and that may well take the mantle of my favourite game of 2015. However, for now, I'm going to pick one that only barely just qualifies. It's a game of exploring, of developing, of colonising, of producing, and of shipping, and of possibly something else that I've forgotten. It's Roll for the Galaxy, an amazing game, and one I anticipate will be in my top 10 for a long time to come.
This is Alex from the Dukes of Dice podcast, and my best game of the year has to go to far and away Baseball Highlights 2045, Robo Baseball tactical card play, engaging, thematic, tense, so much fun. Love this game.
This is Sean, and for me, it is hands down Motainai, which, if you know me as a reviewer, you know that I prefer these medium to heavyweight Euro games. Motainai is certainly not that. It is a much simpler card game that introduces a ton of depth, that takes Glory to Rome and transforms it into a package that is just beautiful and simple. It means waste nothing. And I've played this game so many times that despite all the other amazing stuff out there, Motainai is my game of the year.
Hey, Eric Teo here, and the best game of 2015, in my opinion, right now, that of all the games I've played, is Pandemic Legacy. I mean, there's so many good things about Pandemic Legacy. I'm quite sure a lot of the other people on this podcast will be talking about Pandemic Legacy as well as their favorite game of the year. And that's no lie. You have to believe the hype. It is really, really good, and you have to play it. It would be best if you have a group that you can play together regularly. I've even bought a second copy to play my wife. And so hopefully by the end of by the mid of next year, my wife and I could also finish our game of Pandemic Legacy. Now you may be wondering, how do we play 2 games of Pandemic Legacy? I will let my wife do most of the decisions, but I will try to, I know there are certain things that's coming out, maybe I will try to influence her a bit, but I will play largely as it is. And it's still fine, you definitely can play 2 copies of Pandemic Legacy. So that's my best game for 2015, and that's Pandemic Legacy.
The 2015 Game of the Year goes to a game I would in a million years never thought I was giving Game of the Year to if you asked me 8 months ago. But Codenames by CGE is a game I've played easily over 40 times, and I don't want to stop playing it. For it to be able to bring any sort of gamer to play it, and everyone I've played it with, no matter how much of a gamer they are, has enjoyed it. Man, it's just a huge thing to say about a game. And on top of that, for it to keep my attention for this long is a huge testament of how great of a game it really is. Codenames has managed to do the impossible in my mind. It has made me, a hardcore Euro deck building Amerithrash loving gamer, crown a family party game as Game of the Year. Codenames, my Game of the Year for 2015.
Jeff here, and as I stated in kind of my opening thoughts about the year, I feel that 2015 is going to be remembered as the time that the idea of a really strong narrative structure and storytelling within a game really came into its own. And the game that best exemplified that year was Pandemic Legacy, and so I have to name it as my game of the year. And I really hope that this shows publishers and designers both that there really is a market for this type of, kind of concentrated experience that is focused more on the moment and not necessarily as much on replayability. I think there's always going to be a place for games that are replayable and you can pull off the shelf anytime and just plop it down and go for it. But there's also going to be a place for this sort of event type game. So I'm really excited about seeing what comes out of this and what grows into 2016 and beyond.
Greg Schlosser here, talking about the best game of 2015. There were several games competing for the top spot, most notably Codenames and Pandemic Legacy. I'll have to give the nod to Pandemic Legacy, using that legacy concept developed by Rob Daviau and Hasbro with Risk and putting it into the Pandemic universe. What an exciting, tense game that evolves as you play, sometimes making it a little easier, sometimes a bit more difficult. It's just an addicting, incredible game. Pandemic Legacy, best game of 2015.
Jason Katarski here. And my pick for best game of 2015 involves a word that I never expected to say. But that is Risk. Star Wars Risk. Oh my goodness, what a fun game. I don't care about dice chucking tactical miniatures games, but I love this game. Apparently it is a reworking of an older game called Queen's Gambit, but it is a 45-minute game of tactical combat with multiple paths where you're trying to get the shields down, trying to have a lightsaber duel with Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, trying to take out the Death Star while trying to keep your fleet alive. And it is a blast. Star Wars Risk, my favorite game of 2015.
Hey folks, Mark Street here. So my pick of the year has got to be Blood Rage by Kumini Not and Eric Lang. You know, this game is phenomenal. The Viking theme, Ragnarok, is coming, and you're battling it out with your fellow Vikings, and it's just, everything about it just sucks me in. The theme is amazing. The artwork is amazing. I love all the tactics you can take, how you can even go the route of sacrificing your guys to gain points, and purposefully doing so, and I've won that way, which is really fun. And there's many options and many directions you can go, and I just can't wait to play again. It's that kind of game.
Hello gamers, Daisy Sheik here. For best game, my choice is The Voyages of Marco Polo. The first time I played it, I thought it was a good, solid game, though not great. But each time I've played it since, I've enjoyed it more and more. The different characters really vary how you approach the game, and I like that there are different winning strategies. I'm looking forward to playing this one again and again.
Hi friends, Niels again, and best game of 2015 for me. And it sounds weird that I pick Codenames. It sounds weird because I honestly would say that's the biggest innovation, that's the best game ever, blah blah blah. But here's the catch. I'm a gamer. And I wanted to play games. And this game delivers. This game brings everybody to the table. You can teach it in 5 seconds. You can play it as long as you want. You can jump on, you can jump off. And this game delivers. Even if it's not my best game ever pick, but it's for 2015 the game I had a lot of fun with it.
All right, Don, the time has come. What has been your best game of the year?
Oh, my best game experience of the year is Pandemic Legacy. And once again, I feel kind of like I'm part of the herd on this one. But it's a good place to be. And next year, it will be much less on people's lists because they'll have played it. And I guess once you've played it, you don't play it again. So, you know, I'm not yet halfway through Pandemic Legacy, but it's been my best actual gaming experience of the year.
Well, that's cool. You know, just have by virtue of number of plays, I'm going to have to go with Firefly. It may not be the most fantastically best game of the year, but with all the expansions, I've just been playing it and enjoying it quite a bit. So no surprise to anybody of our listeners.
That's what I was going to say. Is that no On Board Games listener is going to be surprised by Eric picking Firefly for anything.
Fair enough. Well, I'm Eric Dewey.
And I'm Donald Dennis.
From On Board Games.
This is Ryan from Out of Game, and this probably comes as no surprise, but for me, the best game of the year was Time Stories. And here's why. There's a lot of controversy about this game because it's a disposable game. You can only play it one time, and then you cannot play it again because everything's revealed. Kind of like playing a video game where you unlock everything and then you just know where everything is. That's what happens in this game, but I don't care. This game was so much fun for that one time that I played it that I want to bring this game to other people and just watch them play it. Even if I'm not making any decisions, even if I know where everything is, I just want to play it again and bring other people through it. And when these expansions come out every 3 months with a new case, I'm definitely going to be getting them. So best game of the year by a mile, Time Stories.
Tony, Marty, best game 2015. Well, for me, guys, if you listen to our show, Pandemic Legacy, hands down, that's it for me. Marty.
Wow, okay, not a lot of explanation there. For me, it's going to be Forbidden Stars. It kind of brings back that game I used to love to play years ago. StarCraft, the board game, has some of the same mechanics. I really enjoy that universe. It's always a great experience every time I play Forbidden Stars from Fantasy Flight Games.
Hey now, this is Jamie from the Secret Cabal, and my favorite game, the best game of 2015, Forbidden Stars from Fantasy Flight Games. This game has everything in it that I am looking for in a game of this type. First off, I love Warhammer 40,000. I love that setting. I think it makes for great games, and Fantasy Flight put together a really well done space combat game in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. The components are awesome. The tiles are beautiful. The cards are cool. The miniatures are so great. You got your spaceships and your ground troops and your cities and factories. Love every bit of it. Each faction plays differently, so every time you play and you pick a new faction, you got a different play style that you get to explore. The objectives make the game terrific. Instead of just annihilation, you're trying to collect objectives, so you're all over the board. I've played this game probably 14 times now. I love this game. I love Forbidden Stars. Everything about it is just so well done, and I'll play this game every day for the rest of my life and be happy.
Hi, Suzanne here, and the best game of the year for me is La Granja. This game hits the sweet spot for me and rocketed up to my top 10 because it uses one of my favorite mechanisms, multi-use cards, in a great way. There's lots to do and think about and balance to keep you engaged, but you never feel overwhelmed. And the game plays really quickly for as much depth as it has. La Granja is a great medium weight Euro and my pick of the year for 2015.
Hello, it's Doc Ross. Best game of 2015 has got to be Pandemic Legacy. Well, the game itself is kind of basic at the start. When you play it and you start opening the packages and start realizing that you made a huge mistakes in the previous months, this is when the game really comes to shine. And okay, it is a wow factor at the moment, but the game is really good. It really provides a huge story arc, and yeah, it is totally the best game of 2015.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jeanette the Metal Meeple, and for me, my best game of 2015 goes to Vault Wars by Floodgate Games. I'm a huge fan of the Storage Wars TV show, and this pretty much took it into a fantasy realm, brought it to life, and everything about it transitions really well. I mean, I like the fact that all the people know different information, so when you get your cards, you're like, did he see this? There's a lot of bluffing. Since you can come in and out of the bidding, you can kind of play that to your advantage. You can be like, nah, I didn't see anything good. I don't want it. But then at the end, you're like, yep, I'm bidding. It's just a really fun game, and pretty much I bring it every time we play games, even though we don't always get around to it. But it is the one game I consistently bring, and that's why I think it's the best game for me for 2015. Anyway, till next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
Hi, this is Tom Kendrick, and my best game of 2015 is a toss-up between Game of Thrones the card game and Warhammer Quest. I think both will need to be expanded to make a true judgment. Ultimately, I'll give my vote to Warhammer Quest. Game of Thrones is a superb game, but I have other things in my collection that it can be compared to, whereas the progression nature of Warhammer Quest in a cooperative game of its style is a delightfully new experience. Sorry, Pathfinder.
Tony and Marty here, best game for 2015. It's got to be Pandemic Legacy. Oh, it did not disappoint, especially when you get into April. And
Whoa, dude, no spoilers, please, okay? Okay, so for me, my top game was Forbidden Stars. I used to love playing StarCraft, the board game, from many years ago, and this brings back that really cool action selection mechanic that I really enjoy. Love the universe, and it's always a great experience on the table for me.
Hello, my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. My game of the year is Time Stories. I was blown away by this game. It wasn't even something I thought I was going to like. I almost turned down the review copy, but I thought, well, it looks so different from what I'm used to playing. Let's give it a shot. It ended up providing the most interesting, engaging, and amazing board gaming experiences, not only that I've had this year, but ever in my life. Probably some of the single best experiences ever gaming, period. That's how highly I think of this game. It brought me back to my childhood, almost like I was playing Myst on the Commodore 64, where you're solving puzzles and going around to these places that just look amazing. But I love the cooperative aspect where you're working together, you're listening to other people tell the stories on their card, and wow, unbelievable. The artwork's great, the mechanics are simple and streamlined, the stories are amazing. I cannot wait for every story to come out for this. I'm in.
Hi, the Broken Meeple again, and this was such a difficult choice for the best game. There was so many contenders, so many different categories, but I had to give the one that gave me the most thematic, enjoyable experience, and you know I'm a sucker for theme. Forbidden Stars takes the top spot for this year. And let me put it this way. This does the 40k license justice. Well done to Corey Konetsker and co, who got this game off the ground. You did a fantastic job here. The races all play totally different from one another. Each of your decks for battle cards and special abilities can be upgraded however you see fit. The combat is strategic in itself and quite tactical as well. There's a lot of long-term planning you've got to do, and you cannot just sit back and not pay attention. It is that involved. Really cool mechanics. Ultimate thematic 40k experience in a box. I wish I could get it to the table more often. Forbidden Stars, best game of 2015.
That is quite the array. I mean, we're seeing sort of some themes there, but there's clusters. I mean, that's a lot of different things to be the number one
There's
game.
no one dominant game.
Yeah.
Right?
No. Yeah. I mean, there's several votes for a lot of different games, which is great. I mean, that just shows how strong this year is. My number one, if you haven't guessed already, is Pandemic Legacy. I'm
so surprising.
I know. No other game has captivated my wife and son and gotten to the table as much as Pandemic Legacy. They are hooked. I am hooked. We are in August. Did we survive August? I can't remember if we survived August or not. We're not done yet, but we are loving every minute and enjoying the challenge. And it is, yes, it's a consumable game. But again, that arc, that experience, that quest, and the fact that we talked about this with Risk Legacy as well, that everything you do has a consequence. Its permanence is the point. If you could reset it, that would lose the gravitas, the importance of every decision you make in the game. I love it. It's amazing. Pandemic Legacy, my number one.
And that was my number 3. Very solid game. I love the legacy part a lot. The stories, I was addicted to what's going to come out next. There was a couple major surprises over the course of the game. Eric has not even met all of them yet.
Yeah.
Then I can't wait to hear about it when he does.
You know what I want to find out is what people do with the components after they're done with it. Because I imagine, I'm thinking of just at least taking the cubes and putting them into other things. It would be interesting. That would be a pretty spoilerific description, but finding out what people do with the components when they're done.
I know what you're talking about.
Pandemic
I
Legacy.
haven't decided. It's still sitting on my shelf. I said, Jason, you want to keep it as a memento? And he said, yeah, maybe. I don't know. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet. My number 1 is Blood Rage.
Blood Rage.
Several people agreed with me on this one, and it certainly is on a lot of people's lists. I believe it was actually number 5 for Eric.
It was, which surprised me. I didn't think I'd like a game with that theme quite as much as I did.
Right. This is what's fascinating to me, because this was on your top 10, my top 10, Eric's top 10, and Z's. Now, to be fair, so was Pandemic Legacy, Time Stories.
Right. Yes.
Okay, but I didn't think Blood Rage would be on everyone else's list. I thought, oh yeah, Sam and me, this is us.
Right.
But Eric and Z, but it really was. It's a good Euro game.
Yeah.
Mixed with drafting, mixed with miniatures and combat. It's a great game. Anyone who says it's just a retread of an older game hasn't played it. Anyone who says we're just playing it to play plastic hasn't played it.
No.
It's fun as all get out. My favorite.
Well, you know what it is? It's deterministic combat. I mean, yes, there's hidden cards. And you can still be surprised.
I like the hidden card things a lot.
Yeah, but it's not like you're trusting in the roll of the dice, which is its own thing. But I can see why resource management fans, Euro fans, are liking this game, because it doesn't have that bucket of dice combat. You have a little bit more control. You are outthinking your opponents. You are planning your resources. There is a solid engine under this game. It's much more than just pretty plastic bits.
My number... Oh, wait. We're done with number 1.
That was it. That was your number 1.
Let's get to the people's choice. Number 10, The Grizzled. This one kind of came out of left field, really.
Yeah.
but a lot of people are really enjoying this small little cooperative
It's a
game.
little gem. Yeah.
Number 9, Spectre Ops. Number 8, Flick 'em Up. Number 7, Marco Polo. Number 6, Time Stories. Number 5, Seven Wonders Duel. Number 4, Mysterium, which I'm going to assume Eric did put on his list because he put it on last year.
I did put it on last year. I also have not played the Asmodee version, and I have not heard good things about the endgame.
Well, some people like it, but I don't. Number 3, Blood Rage. Hooray. Number 2, Codenames, which would have surprised me had it not been number 2. Just the number of people I see playing this game at conventions is obscene.
Yeah.
And then number 1, hands down, of course, Pandemic Legacy. If Eric had been if we had been playing the game, Eric, you would have been doing great
I would
here.
have cleaned up.
Matching 1 and 2 exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, did you match Time Stories too? Yeah, 6 was Time Stories, and it was the People's Choice.
Nice.
So I guess the people agree with Eric this year.
I guess.
Well, except they didn't pick a fast food franchise, but
that's true. That's harder to get.
Well, before we get to anything else, let's talk about a little bit about 2016. What are people looking forward to?
A new year approaches. What are we looking for in 2016?
This is Anthony, and for me, one of the things I'm looking forward to most in 2016 is getting through a lot of these story-based games. Got to play through Time Stories a bit, looking forward to the new modules for Time Stories, as well as getting to finish Pandemic Legacy finally. Also, other Legacy-style games coming out. Gloomhaven that was on Kickstarter, Seafall from Rob Daviau again. So much good stuff. These are just so unique and engaging, and some of the best games coming to the market today. I feel like 2016 is going to be full of them.
Hey everybody, it's the Board Game Point of View. And what we're looking forward to most in 2016 is...
Seems pretty straightforward, but just more board games. It really seems like the industry just picks up steam almost with each year.
And we actually have a new headquarters opening up here in Billings.
It's still an undisclosed location, though.
That's right.
So you have no idea where it is, but join us, please.
Right.
Bob, what am I excited about in 2016? 2 games. First one is Scythe by Stonemaier Games. I played it at Gen Con, had a blast, immediately backed it on Kickstarter. I can't wait to get that in my grubby little paws. Also, talking about Kickstarter, Gloomhaven from Cephalofair Games. Also played that at Gen Con. It's got everything that I want in an adventure game. So, Gloomhaven and Scythe for 2016. Can't wait for you.
Hello, Dan Hughes here. Now next year, I'm turning 40. And in order to celebrate my decrepitude, I've decided to take the plunge and travel over to Germany and go to Essen Spiel for the first time. I'm very, very excited, even though I am very old.
This is Sean from the Dukes of Dice podcast, and there is so much amazing stuff to look forward to in 2016. A couple of things spring to mind. The fulfillment of the Kickstarter for Arcadia Quest Inferno. So many amazing minis. Headed out to Dice Tower Con out in July around my birthday. Very excited for that. Maybe a possible trip to Gen Con in the works. Oh, that would be so cool. But also just interacting with all of our listeners, everyone out there in board game land. It's just so great growing this hobby. I love it.
Hi. Eric Teo here. What am I looking forward to in 2016? I'm looking forward to the board gaming industry growing stronger and more board games released and nobody going under, and the golden age of board gaming will still keep its trend. But this is more on a personal note as well, because I am intending to create more games, design more games as my program comes to a close. And I hope that at least one of my games I design will be signed this year. So I'm looking forward to also possibly attending more conventions this year. I only attended Gen Con last year, and it was great. Getting to meet people, volunteering at the Asmodee booth. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot of things. I met a lot of people. So I'm hoping that this year I'll be able to go to more conventions, meet more of you out there, talk to you. And yeah, for me, on a personal note, I would definitely like to see something else of mine being released this year. Yeah, so that's my thoughts about looking 2016.
Hey, it's Dan. What am I looking forward to next year? Well, Riddle and Pitchback have a Back to the Future game with IDW that looks like it's going to be great. Spirit Island is a Fabled Nexus game from Greater Than Games, which to me is a front runner for the best co-op for next year. And of course, there's that mad scientist Davio and his legacy system. He's got to have something good up his sleeves, and I can't wait to see what that is next. And of course, every year, something takes us by surprise that turns out to be that game. I mean, who would have thought that Codenames was that good this time last year? I think there's going to be something that'll come out of nowhere, and I can't wait to see what that is.
Dicey Chic here. I haven't heard about too many games for 2016 yet, but Quadropolis, I guess that's how you say that, by Days of Wonder sounded interesting. I'm also anxious to hear more about the Castles of Burgundy card game.
Hi there, it's Niels again, and for 2016 I'm most looking forward for the new Artana game, the new step in the legacy system. It's a box over box system, so you start with one box and it goes over to the other box. It's called Chronicles Origins, announced for spring 16 on Kickstarter.
So Donald, look in your crystal ball there. What do you see?
Oh, for 2016, I think the big game for me is going to be Chronicles Origins, one of the ecosystem games from Artana Games by Davio and Niemeyer. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I got a chance to sit through part of the first one at Board Game Geek Con, and I'm hoping that this carry through of one game affecting other games in the series will be exciting and delightful. And I bet that's going to be a trend that we see farther into the future of board gaming.
It's certainly a cool concept, and I really like where they're going with it, so I'm excited to see that. You know, the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is all the Kickstarters that I backed this year actually showing up on my doorstep next year. I don't even remember what some of them are, so it'll be a pleasant surprise.
You know, I'm still waiting on a Kickstarter from one of our co-hosts, Isaac Shalev, so yeah, I'm right there with you on that.
Ooh. Well, I'm Eric Dewey.
And I'm Donald Dennis.
From Onboard Games.
This is Ryan from Out of Game, and what I'm looking forward to most in 2016 probably has to be the game Scythe. So I haven't backed a lot of Kickstarters this year. I pretty much stayed away from them completely, but I could not help myself with Scythe, and I don't regret it at all. This game looks really fun. The artwork looks amazing. I cannot wait for this to come out in August. Scythe.
2015 has been an incredible year, especially when it comes to games that's really building in this experience that you get over time, as opposed to a game where you just sit down and play it once, put it in the box and you're done, and then you pull it out and play again. It's kind of the same experience. We now have legacy games that you play over the course of several playthroughs. You have games where you build up characters and play through scenarios and campaigns. We now have games like Time Stories, where you have these modular things where you can get new stories and play over time. I can't wait to see where we're going to go with this type of genre in 2016.
And for me, it's going to be the continued success of the industry. I really thought by this time a couple years ago that the hobby would be slowly beginning to trickle out. There were maybe some signs of it, but no, it seems to be gaining momentum. It seems to continue to do the strength. You look at the conventions, you look at just the products that came out in 2015. They were incredible. So what's looking forward to in 2016 for me? The continued growth of the hobby.
Hey now, this is Jamie from the Secret Cabal, and what I'm looking forward to in 2016 is to get my copy of Conan, the board game that I kickstarted. I can't wait for this game. I am a huge Conan nerd. I love Robert E. Howard's stories. I've read all the books, I've read all the comics, and this game tries to capture that feel as best as possible. I cannot wait to see how great this game is going to be. It's beautiful. It's got the minis. I want the gameplay to match it. Conan the board game.
Jonathan from the Snakes Cast. There's a lot to look forward to in 2016, but personally what I'm most looking forward to is finally getting my hands on my Crazy Pancake Super Deluxe Fancy Pants edition of Tokaido with the beautiful painted figures and the soundtrack and the ridiculously huge board, and I want it so much.
Hello, this is Starcross again. What I'm looking most forward to in 2016 is the Kickstarter games Scythe and Seventh Continent. Both of these games seems very epic in their own way. One is a highly strategic game, while the other one is a huge adventure game with possible to play solo. And both games promises huge production values, and the components so far just seems to be totally awesome. So these are the two games I'm looking forward to the most the next year, and also to visit Essen again, and I hope I will see you there.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jeanette, the Metal Meeple, and honestly the thing I'm looking forward to in 2016 is getting to see all the people that I've made friendships with at different conventions this year. in the past, I really only went to Gen Con and really only focused on getting games and getting deals and things like that. And going to a lot more conventions this year and meeting a lot more people, it's just kind of like, it's really refreshing because, games are going to come out all the time. Every year is going to have a handful of games that are great, and there's always games that you can go back on. But seeing these people one time a year, maybe even twice a year, that's just sad, because you make these friendships and you really want to spend time, play games with them. Well, maybe not even play games with them. You just want to sit down and have a beverage and talk about your life and just meet these people and get to know them. So it's just a really, really good time, and I think that's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to next year. Anyway, till next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
Hi, this is Tom Kendrick, and what am I looking forward to most in 2016? Game-wise, I'm looking forward to finally seeing Seafall being finished, along with the inevitable expansions to Warhammer Quest. It's possible that I'll be leaving teaching next year and moving in to live with my partner and opening a board game cafe in Scotland, but that could all be a delightful pipe dream. But whatever else, I'm looking forward to the many surprises 2016 will hold, and hopefully meeting Tom and Sam at the UK Games Expo.
This is Trent Howell, and what I'm looking forward to in 2016 the most is playing through Pandemic Legacy with the family. It's a game we just got from our Board Game Geek Secret Santa, and we're so excited and can hardly wait to play Pandemic Legacy this year.
It's the Four Corners here, and what are we looking forward to in 2016? Well, we're looking forward to more reprints of out-of-print games, specifically Colosseum, which turns out to be one of Lala's favorite games. We're also looking forward to going to Origins for the first time and heading back to Dice Tower Con. See you there.
Hello, my friends. It's the Game Boy Geek here. What I'm looking for in 2016 is very simple. More Time Stories scenarios. Now, up at this point, we still have the one about magic that's supposed to come out. Then we have one about the pharaohs that's supposed to come out, but that's all that's listed on there. There's supposed to be one a quarter. Oh man, I am just looking forward to the day that those things show up and we sit down for 4 to 6 hours in one sitting and get through these things. Bring them all out. Bring them more. I hope every quarter's full of these next year.
Hi, the Broken People once again, and in 2016 I want to see this new resurgence in board game cafes take the UK by storm. Kickstarter has already managed to fund several new board game cafes across the UK that are slowly arising, and Dice Portsmouth is going to be my main one in Portsmouth, UK, where I intend to visit and support as much as I can. These are a great avenue for bringing new gamers in and for getting gamers together, so I welcome them with open arms. Bring it on.
I will agree. More Time Stories on the horizon, including the one that's already out. For me, Seafall. We're still, I don't know if they've confirmed a release for Seafall, but we're still sort of promised that game is going to show up in the future. I'm looking forward to going on a cruise for the first time. I've never been on a big boat. I'm bringing my family to Dice Tower Con this coming year. That's going to be fun. We just talked about how great a family convention it is, and I'm going to test that theory out. I'm really, really excited to have them come down. I'm looking for more opportunities to play games. The older my kids get, the more I can get them to sit in front of more complex games. There's my son with his chess club. I'm excited to try out games in my collection with him that will appeal to that chess mindset, like For the Crown, the deck building chess game, or the Duke. Trying out some of these games with him is very exciting to me. So I'm really liking going back into the collection and finding those gems, rediscovering those gems. And I should be doing more of that in 2016 as well.
Yeah. Look, Seafall is supposed to come out in 2016, by the way.
That's the theory.
No, that's what they said.
I'll believe it when I see it, buddy.
All right. Well, anywho, yeah, I agree on a lot of what Eric said. But for me, I usually look forward just a couple months at a time. I mean, obviously, I'm making Gen Con plans and SM plans because you have to make those early. Unfortunately, we're making cruise plans and things like that. But the thing that's right around the corner, in fact, folks, it's happening next week, the first week of January, on Monday. I believe that's January 4th.
Yeah.
We are starting our annual Kickstarter. We'll talk a lot more about our Kickstarter in the next episode. But, folks, if you like our show, you'll note that we don't put advertisements throughout our shows. We have cool stuff as a sponsor, although that doesn't support us that much financially. They just help us with a lot of logistical things and such. If you like our show and want to support it, that's what we do in January. And you have a chance to go there and get some cool rewards if you want. You don't need if you don't want rewards, that's great. But there's going to be some cool promos and things. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to go up Monday morning. I'll announce it everywhere on Twitter and Facebook and such. And if you want to help us do really well, I'm excited about next year. I'm excited to see the Dice Tower continue to grow. I never thought the Dice Tower would be a full-time job for me. Eric was hoping that at some point I might buy him a microphone or something. And it's grown beyond that. We now have 3 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees. And I like to grow it farther than that and just really continue to bring good coverage all the time.
Yeah.
I think 2015 has been an amazing year for us, a lot of fun. I'd like to see what 2016 has in store. I hope you're still with us. This is like Secret Cabal length shows.
We have reached new heights of length. New heights of length.
I'm ashamed of that. Our next show will not be as long. I promise.
Well, next up, we're starting our 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, right?
Yeah. What happened in 2011? Wow. I remember doing the 2011 list.
No, I was on the show then. That's crazy talk.
Eric is now doing lists twice.
Oh, no.
Alrighty, folks. Well, we're going to wrap this sucker up. Until next time, I am Tom Vassell.
I am Eric Summerer.
Ooh, wait. I meant until next year, I'm Tom Vassell.
And I'm still Eric Summerer.
Anyway, and you've been listening to The Dice Tower.
Thanks for listening. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. This episode, number 438, was recorded on December 16th, 2015. Coming up next week, it's our top 10 games from 2011, 5 years ago. This podcast is sponsored by listeners like you. Thank you for your continued support. And speaking of support, the Jack Vassell Memorial Fund is dedicated to providing support to members of the board gaming community in their hour of need. If a catastrophic event has turned your game upside down, find out how we can help at jackvassell.org. The Dice Tower is produced by Tom and me, with assistance from Jason Thompson, Itai Perez, Eric Matthews, and Rob Searing. Our personally embroidered jackets are provided by Coat Names. Timothy Pinkham composed our theme, and hosting is provided by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games at great prices at coolstuffinc.com. Let us know what you think of the show by posting to the Dice Tower Guild at BoardGameGeek.com, liking us on Facebook, or by emailing us at thedicetower@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit the other shows in the Dice Tower Network, including Boards and Swords, Start Space, On Board Games, The Game Pit, The Long View, The Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast, and Board Game University. Find out more at dicetowernetwork.com. Until next time, from all the gang at the Dice Tower, Happy New Year, and have fun gaming. Oh, I forgot something else I'm excited about. I get to come play games with you guys.
Oh, yes. That's right. Eric Summer is coming down for our 24-hour gaming marathon. Is he going to win? We actually, Eric, we thought about playing games you didn't like the entire time.
Oh, that sounds awesome. That'll be funny for the first hour or two.
It will be funny till the end.
Great. How to ensure I never come back.